What's going on, people? So I want to welcome you back to another edition of Dirty Talk. I am the host, Dirty Cuts, and today we're interviewing a living legend from the Trey folk. This man is a hip-hop producer. He's a hip-hop artist. He's a DJ. This guy is even a music hip-hop professor. And guess what? He came right out of the red dirt, right out of the Trey folk. And this man has worked with legendary artists across the world, such as Jay-Z and his wife, Beyonce. All the way back to the Trey. That is Winston-Salem, North Carolina, finest and own. Ninth Wonder.
What's up, brother? What's happening? What's going on, bro? How you doing?
What's up, bro?
How you?
Man, I'm great, man. How's it feel to be back home?
I mean, I come home more times than people think, you know what I mean? Like, you know, my parents still live here, you know. There's Douthits a little bit of everywhere, but majority of Douthits and our extended family is here.
I want to ask you something.
Am I some kin to the people at the funeral?
Yeah, you kin to the Douthits.
You know what? It's a funny story about that, man, and we'll get into it later, but when I was a kid, I used to see the name because Tommy Douthit was with Jerry Gilmore at the time.
Right, okay.
And, but not knowing that was my distant cousin, you know, we, you know, go back to like late 1800s, early 1900s.
Well, that's a real interesting last name.
It is. And, but his side of the family went this way and my side of the family went that way, my dad's family.
Okay.
So, it wasn't until recently that we saw each other again. And he said, we got to sit down and talk about this family thing. Because the crazy thing about him is he, every time we've had a funeral, he's the person that's done it. He's buried a lot of my family members, including the last one I had, my brother. So, we're family, but we don't know how exactly. But anybody that's black and Douthit, they probably... you came from the same plantation, dog. So that's pretty much what it is. But that's what it is.
I know you had a hard ass time spelling your last name when you was smaller.
Nah, I didn't, man. You know, but people had a hard time pronouncing it. You know what I mean?
I know they tore it up.
Oh my God, doctor's appointments used to be bad, man. Kids called my name out. The teachers. I didn't have any problem with teachers because teachers knew my mom because my mom was a teacher. But
okay.
When I left here though, oh man. It's like it was the most foreign last name ever.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, does it have some kind of ethnicity to it?
It's Dutch and French. What's funny, there's some Douthits that live in the Boston area, Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, I got you.
And they are, a lot of them are Haitian. So I started to look up like pictures of Haitian folk.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of same features, man. So, I ain't did my little DNA test yet, but I've done ancestry all the way back to like the 1850s, and that's as far as I got.
That's interesting. Did you have any Haitian? Do you know?
I got to a place and stopped. But all of my dad's people, all the men were like super dark skinned, and my great grandma was like part Indian some way. Mm-hmm. Her name was Pearl Nevada. You know what I mean? So, even looking, exploring that, but I'll get more into that when I can.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I want to keep it on this path because I normally have a format anyway where we do the past, present, and the future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, as a kid, growing up around here, in the hip hop industry, how did you feel about it when you first dove into hip hop?
I mean,
and then I'm about to follow up.
When I started to like it, when I fell in love with hip hop for the first time.
Matter of fact, I ask every artist this anyway. When was the day you?
When was the day? When was the day?
You fell in love with?
I knew
hip-hop.
exactly when the day was, and it was my older cousin Shirley I was in her wedding back in '82. I was a ring bearer, right? I think all of us was a ring bearer. Somebody wedding, right?
Gotcha.
And I was 7 years old, and it's funny. I used one of that picture for one of my Zion covers too.
Okay.
And I was in this wedding, and at the wedding, my dad's youngest brother, his wife came up to me. And you know how when older people come up to you and the kids, you don't remember me, do you? You know what I mean? And I was like, no, I'm 7 years old. And it was her and her daughters, which is my first cousins. And they was like, you gotta see if your mama come let you spend the night. You know, the 70s, 80s was spend the night time. You know, you spend night young.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, first I didn't know them, but they was just, you can come on spend the night with me. And they would call me by my name. My nickname was Pooh, so they would call me by my nickname. And they're like, we remember you were born, you had a head full of hair and all this. So I ended up going over there. But over there I'm talking about is Cleveland Avenue Homes. Okay. And so my aunt and uncle lived on 1086 East 17th Street. And I went over there that same summer. And that was the summer I heard Planet Rock. That was it. And the reason why that was so heavy to me because, you know, my mom and dad was in a gospel choir in the 70s and 80s. There was a man around here, he passed away, he was a choir director by the name of Marion P. Thomas. And he had a choir called the MPT Celestial Choir. My mom and daddy was in that. And so all I heard in my house was gospel music. Right, it was weird. It was gospel music, but then my mom played Luther Vandross, right?
Yeah.
And so, but my older brother
was it Big Luther or Little Luther?
They Big Luther, man, the big jerk curl Luther too. And so, but my older brother was like, at the time I was 7, he was 19, and he was listening to like Cameo and all of that, Parliament Funkadelic and all of that. But still, I listened to that, but it wasn't my music though. It wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I'm 7 years old and I'm just listening to we all listen to stuff that what older cats listen to. But then when I got over there, my cousins, my uncle's sons and daughters, it was Planet Rock, man. It was Planet Rock, Egyptian Lover. I'm gonna name a lot of songs that some of the young people that ain't gonna know. Right. Jam on It. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
like
with
it
you.
was all of that.
I'm hearing it all in my head.
Right. So I heard all of that for the first time.
Stop, Planet Rock.
Yeah, all that, man. And at the same time, it was a place in Northside called Northside Skate Rink.
Okay.
Look at everybody. See what I'm saying? And so I ended up going from, you know, my house. My house is originally in Midway, North Carolina.
Okay.
And but I originally went from there to hanging out over my cousin's house and kind of hanging around them. And I would always say the movie Paid in Full, I saw that. Like that was 17th Street, 1985, 1984. You know, my big cousin Easy Frog is my big cousin.
Okay.
But they ran with Chris A. Strop, Monte Reed, they went to East. Like that was them. That was them all the way. But they would never let me kick it with, you know, I was younger than them, like 2-3 years younger. But they would never let, this is a time of mopeds and sprees and elites and.
Remember the Yodas?
Listen, everybody had a
Low
scooter.
riders.
Everybody had a moped.
Yeah, I remember.
Everybody had all that. This is like mid 80s and late 80s. Mid 80s. But it was all that. It was. I heard Biz Markie for the first time, like,
Ooh.
you know. But my aunt and uncle, they was on some. They were playing like Marvin Gaye Sexual Healing. You know what I mean? That wasn't played in my house, and I just got that. Just being around my older cousins, trying to follow them around, making my own friends in projects at that time, and I spent a lot of my from age 7 to age 14. I was in Cleveland Projects every weekend, dog.
I know that's right.
Every weekend. Weekend.
Okay,
so,
I can relate because I grew up in Boston Projects.
Right, BDP.
I was down the street.
Yeah, for sure.
From you guys, so I can definitely relate.
Yeah. So you know,
I'm writing this because it's a question I want to ask you later on.
Okay.
and it popped up in my head
Okay.
when you was talking.
But that was the time of, the 4 big housing developments, man. Cleveland, BDP, Happy Hill, and Piedmont Circle. And it's funny that 2 of them are gone. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, gentrification, whatever you want to call it. But it was a time where those housing developments was the safest place to be, dog.
Right, it meant something.
Yeah, man.
It meant something.
It definitely meant something to me, man. And it taught me so much. Respect your OGs, all of that, And I still see something now. Like, Knife, what's up, man? I be like, what's up, OG? Like, you ain't gotta call me that. Like, yeah, I do. Like, I grew up following y'all around, man. Although y'all would never let me go with y'all, but that was in the middle of the heroin crack 80s, dog.
Yeah.
And to see that with the music go with it, with the styles go with it, the tracksuits, the MCM, like all of that, man.
Shout out to Po Charlie.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, man, just and all the dudes I grew up with, man. My man Taurus Clark, Antoine Reed.
Oh, Reed.
Yeah. My man BG that died so long ago. Big that died. Shannon Kimbrough, Andre Kimbrough. All of us ran the street together. Doing who knows what, back and forth to Bloom Park, free day, going to Bloom Park on free day.
Speaking of Bloom Park, you did a joint with Rick Ruckers and Remo
over there.
Right there.
That's the reason why I shot it there.
Okay.
Because that was a big part of
Stand Back.
Us walking to Bloom Park on free day, going to swim, and us going there, walking down to the street scene in the Mayfest downtown.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, man, like that was.
You brought that back right there.
That's probably one of my favorite eras. That's probably the era that taught me about hip hop the most.
Word.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Okay. Breakdancing. So did you start off rapping or did you start off breakdancing?
Man,
which one was it, man?
Man, everybody.
Because I thought I was a dancer.
You know what?
I was.
I don't know.
Shit.
See, I don't know if you remember, but well, how old are you, first of all?
I'm 43.
Okay, so you right behind us. Okay,
See,
so when I say this
I'm
stuff,
right behind. So I know where you at. I can.
So for the ones that can remember, like Carlton on Fresh Prince, Alfonso Ribeiro.
Yeah.
He came out with a breakdance mat. Like he had 1-800 you call.
I remember. He had the Jerry Curl. He had the Michael Jackson Jerry Curl with the rat tail.
Dance, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, like, if you, at that time, if you didn't know how to, I don't know about windmill and all that, but you better know how to pop lock.
At least.
And nothing else.
Or at least the Cabbage Patch.
Something. And even before that, like, you had to know how to pop lock. Like, if you get in a circle got around, you better know how to, do something. Because that's at the time of, like, B Street and Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo and all these movies started to come out, man. So it was some dudes in the city, man, that was really nice at pop locking. You know what I mean? But you had to know how to do that. So I don't know necessarily if I wanted to be that. But you had to learn how to know how to dance. You had to know for the Blue Boys, you had to know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
Because everybody made their own belts. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We used to make belts out of aluminum foil and all that. Yeah, I know how to do that. But then what was crazy, though, I also learned how to dance with the homegirls in the neighborhood. Because that was at the time when most girls putting a routine together. I don't know for what, but they was...
Yeah.
It might be a talent show or something, So a lot of, like, when Pushy was out, and you learn routines, too, So we got it all, at that time. But I don't know what I was trying to be, man. I was just... Whatever the culture was, I was trying to be a part of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I got you.
And Pee Wee football. Well, Pop Warner football.
Pop Warner football,
which was big for us. Yeah, it was
shit
huge.
for us.
It's like million teams
Who
now.
you play for? You was an Indian. Which one?
Let me tell you, I tried out for the Indians. First day I took a lick, I quit, dog.
Oh.
I knew football wasn't for me. And but I went on and I cheered my homies on, but I went out there first day, boy. I took a lick, man. This ain't for me, dog. This sport is not for me. And but it was the Indians was our. If you grew up in Cleveland Avenue Homes, that's who you played for.
Most of the
Indians
guys from Cleveland played that thing.
Yeah, for sure. for sure. But the
I was a
Greyhounds.
Viking man.
You was a Viking.
Yeah, I was a Viking.
We had over like what 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah.
Kernsville Raiders were sorry. King Dolphins were sorry.
King
They come to town,
was
get
sorry.
smashed.
That was a guaranteed win.
Oh,
King Dolphins
and
was
Kernsville
a guaranteed
Raiders.
win.
It was smackdown
Yeah,
time.
man.
But you know, Sir Tumber Bowl was exciting, man, and
yeah, that was the
all
shit.
that. Yeah, for sure.
I got a chance of playing about 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was big for us, man. Yeah, it's big to be in that.
So did you take on sports? Did you play basketball or anything?
I played basketball in high school.
Sport? Boy, look at that drink though. Look at that. God almighty, go ahead.
No, you good. I played.
I'm sorry, this is yours, sir.
Okay.
What is this called?
Yours is Crown.
Right. And yours is...
Mine is regular.
This version.
Yeah.
His is version.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sports. I eventually went towards basketball because I used to go to the doctor when I was a kid, man, and ask the doctor why my waist is so high and my legs are so long. And he's say, you're gonna grow, you're gonna grow, you're gonna grow. And when I got to Glenn High School in 9th grade, I was 5'8". I was 5'8", wearing a size 12, looking goofy. And then I remember taking a physical. I got to Glenn in fall of '89. I remember taking a physical in May of 1990. I was 5'9". When I came back to tryouts that same October 1990, I was 6'2" and a half.
Damn.
So I sprouted. And it's funny, you know, my man Raheem said he went to the East. He went to school with my cousin, Juan Davis. And Juan always talks about how we used to play ball sometimes. It was different because I was 5'8", but then I came back, I was 6'2". They'd be like, what? He used to talk about this all the time. But basketball became my thing. My brother was a exceptional basketball player. If I had to name the top 10 players to come out of Winston-Salem, of this area, he'd definitely be one of them. He won the Frank Spencer in 1981. His Frank Spencer Award. His record at the Frank Spencer scoring record stayed intact for almost like 15 years.
Wow.
He had a 42-inch vertical leap. Like my brother was. If you knew anybody from the late 70s, early 80s, and ask them about Charles Douthit, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Charlie Mack." Like,
yeah, he was the man.
You know what I mean? And
Charlie Mack.
That was I kind of leaned towards ball that way, but that became like the thing about like 8th, 9th grade, something like that. But anything prior to that, man, it was BMX bikes and Nintendo and same thing everybody else is doing.
BMX and Mongoose.
You know, listen, let me tell you, if you get a Mongoose in the 80s, that's a $300 bike. Yeah. It was crazy. And but yeah, I started playing basketball in high school. That was it. But I was still more into music than anything else. My mom bought me like keyboard. My first keyboard in the 7th grade.
What was your first rap tape you ever bought?
That I bought with my own money?
With your own money.
The Bid's Going Off. And Biz Marquis Going Off.
Marquis. The diabolical Biz Marquis.
That was my first. My second tape I ever bought with my own money was Criminal Minded by Boogie Down Production.
Ooh.
And the reason being is I took a trip with my older cousin. We had an aunt that lived in the Bronx. And I was 12, and we took a trip up there. First time I've ever been on a plane. And it's funny. I flew on a plane in '87. I ain't get on a plane again till like 2001. You know what I mean? About 2001.
I can relate.
So the whole nine, all of the 90s, I ain't seen no plane.
I had military family.
So you know what I'm saying? So I went up there to be with my older cousin and my auntie. And it's funny, the summer I was up there, BDP's DJ Scott LaRock got killed.
Oh, yeah.
So I was up there for that. But when I came back down, I bought Criminal Minor when I was up there. And I came back down here. And I remember playing it for my older cousins and them. And it just came a thing. Somebody else had it too, but it just became a thing, man. It really came a thing,
I
dog.
mean to interrupt you, but you know, when he dropped that Criminal Minded,
Listen,
we thought, and we was already in BDP, and he was already saying BDP.
Right.
So he was the only, I'm going to tell you this, KRS-One was the only artist that came down here to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and rocked the crowd and didn't get beat up.
My homies,
At Ziggy's. And when it was on University.
Man, it's crazy because, you know, once I got into the game, I started to meet people and become friends with people that I have been listening to forever, right? One of my good homies, big homie, one of my good friends in the game is Eric Sermon from EPMD.
Okay.
And
Green Night Bandit.
But when they were here, when the Hit Squad was here in the early night, they got robbed. They robbed the Hit Squad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Man, you don't come down.
Yeah,
you can't come down here with that. But that was one of the first things I said when I met Jay for the first time. He asked where I was from.
He said,
and I said Winston-Salem. He was like, Winston-Salem.
He know.
He said, man, it was a club down there. Me and Beans was in.
I said,
yeah, you talking about Neil's, dog. You was in Neil's, man. He was like, man. I said, man, I was like, I wasn't there that night, but I heard about it, and yeah, Neil's, formerly Black Velvet Lounge.
Well, it was just crazy when they started all that shit. So
it's crazy. It was crazy, man. It was a crazy time.
Let's neither here or there. You didn't hear from me.
But the BDP shoes, man. You know, y'all
Air Force
Ones. And when I first got to college, you know, be cats with Air Force Ones on, and I'll be calling them BDPs, and all the homies from Winston be calling them BDP. And like, why y'all call them that? And they would explain.
It was a Winston coin thing.
I think that was, the BDPs.
Yeah, the BDP. Air Force. This is before the song Air Force Ones.
Yeah. Boogie Down Productions,
what I'm saying? But
all day.
Yeah.
Or Boston Damn Projects.
Boston Damn Projects.
Yeah.
Shout out to 1215 North Trade Street.
Absolutely.
From my house.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's crazy. Okay, so you graduated from Glenn High School, right?
Robert E. Glenn High School, yeah.
All right,
Robert
now,
E. Glenn, sorry.
Now you're entering into manhood, and you shedding off to Central, right? What happened now?
So I got to North Carolina Central in 1993. I was accepted to like 7, 8 schools. My mom was adamant not letting me go far. One school I really wanted to go to was Grambling. She was like, nah, you're not going way down there. Howard was another school I wanted to go to. Nah, you're not going to DC. So, but no, I ended up in North Carolina Central. Myself. It was like
historical black school.
Yes, absolutely. It was 5 people from my high school class that went with me, Chrissy Sterling, Tia Wallington, Okima Young, and Jelani Favors. Well, now Dr. Jelani Favors. We all went to North Carolina Central, and it's funny because we went down there. It was spring of my senior year, and me and Jay went down there to Jelani with Jay. We went down there to take our placement test, and we took our placement test, and we was leaving out. There's a dude we met. They gave us a tour around campus. And we just walking around campus, man. We ain't hardly see no dudes. All we saw was girls. It's girls everywhere. And I asked, I said, how many girls go? He was like, man, ratio 25-1.
Woo!
25 girls to 1 dude.
Woo! You can't lose.
And as soon as I got home, I said, Mom, I'm going to North Carolina Central. She was like, you like the campus? Yeah, campus great. Yeah, I'm going to Central, dog.
Boy,
I said, Mom, I'm going to Central.
I'm telling you, boy.
Yeah, I was ready.
That black woman power was something
I was ready to go. I was ready to go. And this is in the Halle Berry, Tony Braxton shortcut era too.
Woo! Anita Baker
outside. I
looked her up and down. Said, "I'll take her."
Right. I said, I'm going to Central, man, and I ended up going to North Carolina Central. So I got there, and it was dope. You know what I mean? It was, everything. Another thing about going to black college at that time, because we're going in the middle of the school days, different world era.
Okay.
So you're going thinking that's how black college is.
So we got the MC Hammer pants with the patent.
No, we passed that. See, we passed that. We off that. We off that.
We're cross color era.
We a little bit past that too. Let me tell you what era we're at. Let me tell you what. Yeah, kind of. Let me tell you where it changed.
Okay.
It changed. Let me tell you for me when I dropped cross colors, because you know cross colors and Machine and all that, like Chess King and Merry-Go-Round and Fines and Just Casuals. And
okay.
That was it. That's it, man. I mean, Just Casuals at Northside.
Hey, did you use
Hey, listen. That was a time.
Did you rock Panama Jack?
Yeah, but that was like, that was kind of like, it was before that.
I'm still going back then. I don't know why I'm doing that.
But still, cross colors, I think, at the time.
Okay.
Because we used to have cross colors. Machine. I mean, Machine was crazy. Like, it'd be jeans.
Yeah, I remember.
But then it'd be like
Morris
suede
Malone
patch. I mean, understand. But we did that. But, you know, our spot, you might be a little bit too young, but we had a teenage nightclub called the Zoo.
The Zoo, I remember. I got to get there when I finally turned 13. Then the shit got closed down.
Yo, the Zoo was crazy.
But I did get to make it to the Armory.
You didn't get to the Armory?
Yeah,
I was gone. By the time I was going to college, but the Zoo was our thing. But that's all we wore, whatever.
I remember the Zoo.
But then
I did go to Tremors 3, though.
You did go to Tremors?
Yeah, I was.
The Zoo and Mr. Grae.
And I want to take you back to that. Let's take you back to that.
Tremors.
I was looking at
Baby Shampoo. Like, I was too young for Baby Sham. My brother used to go to.
Well, I mean, we still got to perform.
Black Velvet.
I still got to perform at though because we had a rap group called the Dead End at Tremors 3.
Right.
And
Terry, Tremors 3 at right on
28,
28 right there,
right in front of New Generations Barbershop. Shout out to Mr. Rob
for real
and Marlo and them over there, New Generations Barbershop.
Right.
But I heard you mention Shaheem, the Rugged Child, and we got to meet him. We got to actually perform, open up for him.
Wow.
At Tremors 3.
I got a story about that
during
too.
that time.
About Shaheem. Shouts to Shaheem too.
Shouts to Shaheem.
But let me explain the clothing switch.
Go ahead though. Go ahead.
The clothing switch was that's all good. So I would always argue every era says they have the best music era, but I would argue our time in high school,
we had the best.
It's incredible. So the fall of my senior year was 1992, and that's the release of What's the 411. Yeah, right?
Okay. Mary J.
And on the song What's the 411 with Grand Poobah, he says, Jabot's hanging baggy, Tommy Hilfiger top gear. When he said that, it was over. Ooh. All that Chess King and all that. That's when the mall. So for the young people in the room, the mall used to be short. The mall was not long. The menu and Hanes on that way was not there. It used to end at this store called Tallheimers, and it was so. And we were in high school is when they added the menu at Hanes and all of that. So on the end down here, they added a store called Dillard's. Nautica, Tommy Hill. So now you bringing in all that.
Polo.
So that's when they Polo. So that's when stuff kind of changed from wearing Machine and cross colors to now. I mean, I got polo boots on right now. Yeah. These are the ones that I had.
Yeah, I was people don't know the original
in school.
I remember the Eastlands too.
That's what I'm talking about. Eastlands. Yeah. You know, we don't went preppy, Sebagos. It was crazy.
I remember.
And so that was kind of the change. So once you got to college,
touching on that now on what's the 50 show?
Raising Canaan.
Raising Canaan.
Yeah. So that was a switch.
That was like that's the style he talking about right now.
Yeah, that was
right
a switch. Tommy Hill, all of that early '90s. You know, that's what you wanted. And then it's funny because Polo re-released the pullover or the jacket or pullover, whatever, that Raekwon had on the Cream video. Ooh. It had snow, whatever on it. Mm. They released it. It was gone just like that. Re-released it. But that was the era. So when I got to North Carolina Central, I started to see that. But then I also started to see what DC cats was wearing, right? Slouch socks, black shoes, 2-3 T-shirts. Then the Charlotte cats, Because, at that time, Charlotte kids were a little bit more high on the economic strata than we were. You know what I mean? Because Charlotte, that's when the beginning of Charlotte started being like a banking capital. So now you got all of these parents, all these kids coming to school that's wearing them high-end polo and, crazy like Nautica shirts and all of that stuff. So, but that was North Carolina Central around that time. And the thing I was going to say about Shaheem was, Shaheem had a song called On and On. You know the song, right? And I remember the album dropped. And that Shaheem's my man too. But we went to Willie's Records and Tapes at Crabtree Mall in Raleigh. We rode out there to get that album. And we bought 2 albums that day. We bought the Shaheem album. And we bought this other album called Illmatic. We listened to Shaheem. We listened to it in the majority of it. And then my boy said, "Hey man, put that Nas album in."
What'd he do that for?
What'd he do that for? The intro came on, and then after that, track 2, New York State of Mind, and I was like, man, that's crazy.
I'm gonna tell you, man.
It's crazy.
When I first heard Illmatic, man, I was like, this nigga is the pinnacle, and like, where he come from?
He was like 18 when he wrote, 17 and 18
I was
when he
like,
wrote it.
he didn't even live long enough to talk
Be
like
talking
this,
like this, right? He became a reporter of what he saw outside his window and what he saw went on with his friends. And the thing about it is people always talk about rappers where they're not supposed to talk about anything because they're young and they ain't it. Man, Nas wrote Illmatic when he was 17. And to write that type of thing, but
I'm gonna tell you what,
it was crazy.
I'm gonna tell you which one that fucked me up on that album was One Love.
Yeah, for sure.
One Love, the joint One Love. I think Q-Tip did.
Q-Tip produced it, yeah.
And he wrote so vivid on his homeboy. He wrote his homeboys. He was writing his homeboy while they were in jail, and he was telling them what was going on.
It's
outside in the whole rhyme, and I
absolutely.
was like, "How is this dude?"
One Love was so crazy
in this song like this, man.
One Love was so crazy. They reenacted the third verse. You seen Belly, right?
Yeah, Belly.
And Belly. When they were sitting on the...
They did.
Yeah, they reenacted that third verse with the little kid sitting on the...
They did.
Yeah, the little drug dealer dude. But
I thought that was
crazy.
dope too.
Oh my God.
I thought that was dope.
Yeah. Hip hop was different. Hip hop was different at that time.
For Hype Williams to put that in Belly like that.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows signs of his him being a fan and being vulnerable to that.
Absolutely.
I thought that was dope as hell, man, because I'm a fan too, and I really, as a young MC at that time, I had set my bar to that. Out of the norm of what my peers was setting their bars to, because hell, we in the South. We ain't really.
I want to talk about that too.
But actually,
I
call us the Middle East.
I want to talk about that. I really want to talk about
the Middle East
for sure,
because we like right smack dab in the middle, from the North and the South. So it's like we getting fed all kind of shit. Everything slides through us. You did. Is that my phone? I know that's my phone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Man.
Go check this out.
Man. Hey, welcome to the podcast. Man, North Carolina has always had an identity struggle with that. When I first started making beats and got into the game and people that hear the beats, they were like, well, I didn't think you was from the South. Right. But my comeback to that was, hey, dog, what you think we was listening to in 1992? Like, what do you think Your MTV Raps and Rhapsody was everywhere, bruh. So what do you think we were consuming at that time? Even the great Andre and Big Boy of Outkast, they were influenced by a Tribe Called Quest. And I just hate that. I'm going to hate it, but I hate that. And I say this all the time. When people always ask me about the South, growing up in hip-hop, blah, blah, blah. I saw Winston-Salem, and even North Carolina switch. Just like that. We went from Wu-Tang and Boot Camp Click and Smith & Wesson and Black Moon to then everybody wanted to be from Atlanta. Like, this is a fact.
I mean, because we finally had, I'm going to tell you why.
I know why.
Because we finally had a damn identity.
Right. I mean,
we finally can say, well, we are in the South. We are them Southern cousins.
And Andre and Big Boy kind of, although we listened to Wu and all of that, whatever we listened to at the time, we couldn't really relate to the places they were talking about. But with Andre and Big Boy, we could. From the way they sounded, the way they talked, everything. But when I tell you, I'm going to say like 93 to 95, 96. Winston-Salem was Mobb Deep country, dog. Mobb Deep.
Man, yeah. I'm gonna tell you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you this too.
Camp Click. Oh my God.
Now my dad used to bump that Scarface.
Yeah, man.
And Tila.
Yeah. And Girls in the Club, sure enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like I really didn't. I didn't realize that was the South too.
Right. South's multifaceted, man. I think that's the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
But even if you listen to Old Face, we're Ghetto Boys. I remember 102 used to do the top 8 at 8, right? And bruh, Mind Playing Tricks on was like number 1 for like 15
Didn't
weeks.
everybody know that? Boy, we used to see that shit on the bus and everything.
like for real. That was
Fridays they used to let us
But I think, it's just saying just one sound here. I think it's impossible because, well, one of the reasons why it's impossible because I think people really underestimate the amount of colleges we have in this state. So when you got that, you got so many people coming here with so many different styles or whatever. So North Carolina's like a melting pot. But another thing we have to understand is too, and I learned this by traveling to New York all the time. Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Manhattan. Although it's New York, they're 5 different boroughs, and they're 5 totally different places. You got different slang, you got different everything. Mm-hmm. And the problem is we don't look at NC the same way.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at the 5 largest cities, Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Durham, Raleigh, they're your 5 boroughs right there. And we don't look at even some of the things I say and some of the, ways I talk or grew up talking. Charlotte niggas don't talk like that.
Don't talk like that.
Greensboro niggas don't talk like that. Some of the things we say. Mm-hmm. I was somewhere in school. I remember I said "flicked it" for the first time. And everybody was like, what? And they were from North Carolina. And that's when I started to understand that. You look flicked. Or we used to say, if you having some whack, we say, you got them bap ass shoes on. And the term bap, it was like, what?
What?
It was a thing. And they was like, man, what that even mean? And these was people from Raleigh and Durham. And they were like, man, y'all Winston-Salem niggas talk funny. And so that's when I started to really understand that even in the state of North Carolina, a place with 100 counties, you can't lump us all in one box. And I think for a long time, music industry wise, we've been saying when NC gonna get on, when NC gonna get on. Right. I think it's 100 counties. We all not gonna get on at the same time. But what we can do is little by little, place by place, and just be proud to accept your uniqueness in each city. Because Winston-Salem ain't like, I've been all over this world, bro. Ain't no place like this place. No, sir. No, sir.
Hey,
no place.
So check it, man. I know that North Carolina has touched so many and inspired so many artists throughout the game, throughout the hip hop.
Throughout history.
And we never get props.
Well, we do.
Recently we started to. I said in the early 2000s, we finally started getting, like, for instance, the movie The Woods.
Yeah, right.
My boy said, I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
I'm on the fence about that, man.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we got to recognize who all done came from here, and not only in hip hop, but in music. Period. Coltrane, Roberta Flack,
Ooh.
Jodeci, Nina Simone. Like, that came out of
Anthony
the state.
Hamilton.
Anthony Hamilton.
Goddamn, oh.
It's a lot of people that came here.
Fantasia.
Fantasia, right. That came out of this state that has affected music probably easily. One of the most important jazz people that has ever lived is John Coltrane. And he's from here, right? And
I ain't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And even the Nina Simone pieces is out of the way, and Roberta Flack. Like that, those three right there is crazy. But, you know.
Boy, I just had a moment.
Here's the thing about the reason why we haven't, and just from being in the game so long and understanding the landscape, the reason why we haven't gotten, well, first of all, I've always, this word recognition, I've always been on the fence about that because it's like, it's not worldwide recognition, it's who you're being recognized by. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And so that's been the thing for me. When people say, well, you know, I ain't gonna get, well, anybody don't get enough recognition. I'm like, it'll come, you know, it'll come when it's time. But as far as North Carolina is concerned, probably the reason why as a state, or even as cities, we haven't not looked at as an Atlanta, that's one city though, New York, LA, Chicago. Because North Carolina, if you look at our, and this is straight finance and culture, if you look at our exports, what we're known for, the number one thing we've been known for since the early 1900s is tobacco, bro. That's right. Mm-hmm. Tobacco, that's number one. That's true. Number two, which is close to number one, is basketball. Mm-hmm. I was, you know, when Cole first started, I was trying to explain to somebody about Cole. How was Cole received back home when he first started? I said, Cole is big, he's worldwide, he's huge, right? Unfortunately,
hard on his ass.
Yeah, right. But unfortunately, even for that, Cole will never be, in this state's history, he will never be bigger than Dean Smith. You understand that? Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Dean Smith, no. Dale Earnhardt, nah, bruh. And so that brings another piece. NASCAR. Mm-hmm. Worldwide, we're known for that, exactly. Right? And so music on our export list, whether it be industry or anything, is like fourth or fifth, even behind tourism. You know what I mean? So until we pass all of that, New York's the media capital of the world, okay? Atlanta went from going to one thing to now music-based, right? Same thing, Los Angeles has been about Hollywood entertainment forever. We are still known for Duke and Carolina.
Right.
And it's hard to be a rapper and supersede that. You know what I mean? It's tough. Like, it's people around here, man, will go crazy if they see somebody play for Carolina. They will sit on the bench more than they will a rapper from here. And I totally understand it. I totally get why that Jerry Stackhouse. It's a legend. You know what I mean?
Stackhouse, man.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, Wallace, everybody who played, as long as Michael Jordan is from here, you know, and known from being from here, then it's going to be hard for us as a musical culture to supersede that. And that's no fault of our own. We fighting against generations, you know what I mean?
I got you.
Of stuff. So, in so many ways, from a national scale, by face, P.D. Pablo was our first.
Yeah.
By sound,
you took that right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you how you feel about him coming out, because when he first dropped, I was excited that we finally had an artist from Carolina.
Right.
But I didn't feel that was our sound.
Well, for me, I didn't feel it was, you know, when I was a little brother, we didn't feel like that was our sound. But another thing, too, is, which is huge, we didn't go to him saying, put us on either. We didn't say, okay, you made it out. Now it's your time to put us on. That's not his job. You know what I mean? He was put on by Timbaland. And we like, well, man, you know, I've seen Petey around ever since then. And I never look at him and say, man, you ain't help me out. I never asked him for help. And that's what it was. But I didn't feel like it was our sound, but it was huge for us.
It was real.
But the person before him that really put a mark on the game, we don't talk about a lot.
It's
Ski.
group. Ski Beats. Took that out of my mouth too.
And Ski was on Reasonable Doubt 50 little times. And
did you ask Jay, like, well, you keep with the Trey? You don't even know it, huh?
You know what I'm saying?
We keep bringing your back.
So my man Hip Hop, Kiambo Joshua, is the person that found Ski Beats. And Ski gave us all the joints on Reasonable Doubt. Then he produced all the Uptown Saturday Night by Camp Low. He gave us Lucchini, dog.
Lucchini. Crazy. Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I mean? So
did he do anything with Little Brother?
No. Ski didn't, I don't think, If he did something later, but no, not in our early days.
Okay.
But I mean, that was that's always been our thing. And I know sometimes artists get frustrated. There's a few people from here.
Is it Drez?
So it's funny. Drez got family here.
Okay.
That's another thing too about NC. North Carolina has become and I say this, tongue in cheek, the retirement home for a lot of rappers too, dog. There's a lot of rappers that gotten older that's tired of New York, and they come here. You know what I mean? Like Kane lives here. Kane been living here.
That's my dude. That's my number one dude right there.
Sadat X from Grant.
That was my first tape I bought.
What? Kane?
Big Daddy Kane Raw and EPMD.
Sadat lives in Raleigh.
EPMD strictly business.
Remy Ma's here.
Remy, yeah.
They live in the state.
Papoose.
It's a few people that live here. That's kind of like I'm tired of New York. Rod Digger now lives here.
Oh, Rod Digger. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's a few people that live here, man. But it's always tough because artists get frustrated. I don't care if they're coming out here, Fayetteville. This is a hard thing to want to be a part of.
Yeah, especially coming out of here.
Especially coming out of, if I just take North Carolina as a whole, coming out of here, man, whether it be Charlotte, Raleigh, wherever, it's a lot. But sometimes I don't think artists understand the volume of rappers who trying to rap, bruh. It's funny that we talking about early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Studios weren't everywhere. Studios is not everywhere. When you say you were going in a studio, that was a big deal, dog.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't even know how many people in the city had turntables. Mr. Grae, Lemon Lime, a few people, but maybe like 2 or 3.
My partner Doc, he's supposed to be here.
Yeah, like in the entire city, we make like 2 or 3 or 4 people that got turntables.
There wasn't too many people.
No. Now we're living in an age where if I go spend at least 5 G's in the Guitar Center, not only am I a rapper, I about can start my own record label. And see, that's the problem. It's not the problem that I ain't getting heard about recognizing me. It's now you dealing with volume. I read something the other day, something about it's 100,000 songs loaded to streaming services every day. What? 100,000, dog?
That's a lot.
And sometimes I think that, some artists don't understand how big this world is and how hard it is to cut through what we call the fog or the noise. I just saw T-Pain, and he's dead on it. T-Pain said, in order to make a record go on the radio, not just play on 102, but go nationwide on the radio, takes $200,000. That's a lot of money to get it charted. Not number one, charted. Because now you're dealing with volume of rap. Yo, bruh, everybody rap. I saw you at Turkey Bowl. Anybody dudes came up to me sitting there, I rap. And that's no diss. I'm just saying, it was at one point, the only way we getting out the hood or getting out of here was either going to school, putting that ball in there, throwing that football, or we on the street. Rapping, that was only rhyming at a time where, let me name these rappers. I'm just gonna name the rappers that debuted when I was in high school. Snoop, Tupac, Nas, Wu-Tang, Biggie. What? Redman, The Roots, Outkast, Tribe. Let's just take the MCs in that. If you were trying to rap, you trying to rap as good as them.
Right.
Which means everybody can't do that. Everybody can't rap that good. So to be a rapper like, you listen to Illmatic, you like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, that's hard act to follow.
When I'm listening, we listen to Biggie and Puff said it too. Puff said, man, some people you can listen to, they got like an ancestor where they got their rhyme style from. Biggie came from he has no predecessor. So just from that, man, being able to rhyme, it's like, bro, like, I got to make a tape. I got to get a demo. I got to go to New York. I got to get a deal. I got to sit outside a record label. Mm-hmm. That was hard. Mm-hmm. I got to pass out tapes. But now, SoundCloud, bro.
Yeah.
Or, it's as fast as, now it's not only songs. You can take this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. If it get popping, now it's on the front page of like Spotify or Apple Music. Or the way to get out now is easier, but everybody trying to do it.
Right.
So when everybody, so the question is, if everybody trying to rap, who the fans? Who the consumer? Like, who is? You know what I'm saying? And in the world of Instagram, well, you can get anything popping. Bruh, if I walk in a room with 5, 6 dudes, they say claim they rhyme, it's hard to tell them, okay, let me hear all of y'all. Okay, you need to rhyme, but you need to do the website. You need to run the camera. You need to record all the content. You need to do this. You need to try to find it. The mother 4 dudes gonna be like, nah, I'm the one. Nah, man, I'm the one. You know what I mean? Like that's the hardest thing. That now it's like everybody can do it. Everybody can take their platform and be something. So it's like, who the fans? I don't even think we at a point in life, man, people don't even know what sound good anymore.
Do you think the industry made it too easy for people?
It wasn't the industry, it was technology, man. It was a means to an end, you know what I mean? And social media was the thing that took us over. But at the same time, that came around because we got tired of getting gypped by the labels paying $17 for a CD and 2 songs on there. We got tired of that. So then we started burning CDs. You know what I mean?
CD baby.
Well, you can go. It got to the point, in the early 90s, all your CDs in a row. We used to take the little slip, put the album cover behind it, then put the CD on top.
Right. Put the CD on top.
And you flip through it. Sometimes you look at people's CD collection, you flip through it, you be like, you ain't gonna be no friend of mine because ain't nothing in here I like, right? But now, once we got to like 99, 2000, all them CDs had Memorex, Fuji, and you done wrote on it, Slow Jams Volume 1, Slow Jams Volume 2, Street Mix. Like, it became that. So then, we just kept, the game started evolving. And then 2004, 2005, here come Wayne with all these dedication tapes. And Drama had started the Gangsta Grills stuff with Jeezy. And then Wayne took off, but the problem is Wayne was rapping on a lot of industry beats. And one thing about the music industry is this: you can't keep them locked out for so long. It's a certain thing called the RIAA, and they are always watching. So Wayne was recording all these tapes, but they selling 80, 90,000, 100,000 copies out their trunk. That's close to dope. That's dope money.
Yeah.
It's all tax free.
Right.
So next thing you know, they had Drama Door
on their ass, yeah.
Yeah, they had Drama Door. And this ain't just RIA, this the DEA and the ATF. at Drama Door about some music, dog. Like, it's crazy.
For what?
Yeah, because you got what's out at the time.
They want they cut.
You got the instrumental "We Belong Together" by Mariah Carey and Wayne rapping on it. Where's Our Peace? So then it went from that to cloud streaming. It went from that, and then the labels found their way in that. So you can't. Any type of new medium we come up with, the labels are gonna find their way, because that's the record industry is something they don't want to die. Because once it dies, we all independent. Man, what they gonna do?
Nothing.
Nothing. And they not letting it happen. So,
well, I mean, they fighting it, fighting hard.
They fighting bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, we fighting too.
Yeah, of course.
So, okay, so let's get to the stardom of things.
Okay.
When
I started,
your first track that got placed, what was that?
It was mainstream on a record label that I got a check for was Threat by Jay-Z.
Threats.
And
Threats, nigga.
Right. But it took me a long time to get. I won't say a long time, but it took me a while to get to that. From the start when I first started making beats was 1998. 95 I had a son. My son is now 27. It's crazy. Jesus Christ. I had a son in 95. I transferred to NC State. Central was Central. NC State was like Beverly Hills, man. They had a totally different level of school as far as amenities and all that.
Right.
I ain't got no class, man.
NC State was more like a Wake Forest. Yeah.
Bruh, on steroids. This is an ACC school, right? They got ACC money. You see that ACC money in them dorms and cabs and all that. And when I was at Central, I had a 3.2. When I was at NC State, I had a 0.9.
A 0.9?
I ain't got no class, man. Man, look at me.
What you do? You ain't do nothing.
Well, there's a few things happened at the time. We had 25-1 at NC State, girls to one guy.
Yeah.
But we also had co-ed visitation hours.
Okay.
5 to 12 on Monday through Friday. 12 to 12 on Saturday, Sunday. But it was still hard to you ever been to North Carolina Central before?
Yes.
All the girls' dorms was way across campus.
Especially the homecoming.
Right. So all the girls' dorms was way on the hill, them two towers.
Lord have mercy.
To get a girl to lead them towers and come to Chitley Hall, which is way on the other side of campus, is the only male dorm. You had to do some serious talking.
You was a pimp.
Pretty much. NC State was different. NC State was 24 hours all night long. That wasn't no good for folk like me. I wouldn't win it. So I ain't do too well at NC State, but but here's the thing though. NC State was a engineering school. A lot of dudes building computers.
Okay. So
on these computers, a lot of dudes.
These are all AP classes.
Right. They building computers, engineering school. But some of these dudes I knew were putting beat programs on computers. And so I would go by their room, we'd go up the street, buy some records. They had their records hooked up to the turntable on the record. Then the turntable hooked up to the back of the computer, and that's the first time we started to see what this thing called a waveform is, right? So you can see the sound on the screen. So I started making beats, and I was like, man, just messing around. I ended up going back to Central. I met Fontaine Poole. We started a group, but a big key to that, a part of that story, I was working at Holiday Inn Reservation Center, taking reservations all day. But then I was about to have a daughter. So me and my wife, we moved here back to Winston-Salem in November of 2000. Check this out now. I tried to get a job at RJ Reynolds. Nope. They said I was too overqualified because I had been to school. Ain't that crazy? Yeah.
How you overqualified?
See, RJ Reynolds got two different sides. They got the executive corporate side where it takes degrees, but then it has the other side where you don't have to even finish high school. Right?
That was granddaddy and them sad.
And but the thing about that is it did create a level of living for black men and women at that time. Because my daddy retired from RJR, but he used to be professional landscape. He was a self-made man in the 1950s and 60s. But when he got that job at RJR, he started making like $28 an hour, and making that in like 1984, you're killing.
Yeah.
So he was doing that, and it also gave like most RJR kids, all RJR kids, you went to dental care and health care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we had our insurance top notch. But when I came back home in 2000, I tried to get a job there. No. I said, my daddy been there. No. You overqualified. You can't do what your daddy do. But I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place that I hadn't graduated. So then I tried to get a job at the Holiday Inn Select up here on University. No. There's 2 times I got turned down, right? My daughter, who's now 22, was born in Forsyth Hospital in November 2000. And so I got to get a job. So I started working at this UPS call center in High Point called APAC.
Okay, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I started working out there, and it's funny. My supervisor at the time but he was at the time dating this girl named Fantasia. This dude named Jermaine, who is in a group now called Ill Position out of Greensboro. Ilpo. So Jermaine was dating Fantasia at the time, and I was driving back and forth to Raleigh making beats. So I ain't had no beat machine here. I ain't had no beat computer here.
Right.
So June of 2021 come around, and I left APAC one day, and I went over my uncle's house in Winston, started digging through his records. And the first record I pulled up, it had on the front, Jerry Butler, Mr. Dream Merchant. And I said, Mr. Dream Merchant, that sound crazy. And y'all was playing it just a while ago.
Okay, yeah.
And I left my uncle's house. I went to the house me and my fiance was staying in at the time. And I looked at her and I said, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm going back to Raleigh.
She looked at you like you was crazy.
Yes.
Of course.
She said, when we leave, I said, tomorrow.
Oh.
So we packed up. I was driving a 95 Buick Park Avenue at the time. And we packed it up and drove back to Raleigh. And we spent like the next 3 weeks sleeping on our friends' floors. And she graduated from NC State, so she ended up getting a job at back in her hometown in Kinston. She from Kinston area. And she looked at me, she said, I'm taking the baby, I'm taking the car, and I got this job down there. And whatever you're gonna do with music, I hope you figure it out. This is August 2001. So she took the car and left me in Raleigh, sleeping on my man's floor. So I was making beats, was working on the first Little Brother album, whatever. I was working at this place called Planet Smoothie. And I worked there, and I used to trade smoothies with Bruegger's Bagels next door just to eat. Because one thing I was not going to do is call the crib. I was not calling home, right? So I was doing that, and we ended up, finishing our first Little Brother album. And somehow, some way, that's when it was, at that time, leaking music on the internet was like a no-no. We was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Now you can't give free music away on the net. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
So we started doing that, and it got, if somehow, some way, it fell into the hands of Questlove from the Roots. We didn't even know it. We had no idea. And by this time, I done went from sleeping on my homie floor, I done moved into another DJ homeboy of mine, and it was a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 niggas in it. So we standing there. And that's when around the time 2 for 2s from McDonald's was popping real tough. And then, boy, I was hungry, man.
Yeah.
That's when home. And it's funny, man, because that's around the time some of my high school homies would come by and see me. Like, not at this time, I'm 25. I'm 26, 27. All of my high school homies, they done started families. They done got married. I got 2 straight out of, then got their PhDs. And look at me. I was in National Honor Society. I was in all that. I'm broke staying with a bunch of niggas, right? And so one of my homeboys found me. My man, Dr. Anthony Green came and found me one day. He said, man, how long you been staying over here? I said, man, about a year. He looked at me and said, when last time you ate? I said, a couple days ago. And he was like, man, let's go to Bojangles. So he took me to Bojangles 2 days straight. And so I tell that story because that's the part of the story that nobody knows about, for the most part. I've told it, but everybody in love with the game, but like, they hate the scrimmage. They hate it, dog.
They hate going through. They hate. I keep saying that, boy.
The scrimmage is something
They
else.
do not want that story, boy.
I don't expect, although this setup is fantastic, the pitch you even took was dope. When you get drink champs, not if, when you get drink champs level, and all these people start coming around, they not gonna know about this part right here. They not gonna know about none of this. They gonna be like, and it's gonna be all these people come around thinking this, everything you got was given to you.
Right.
You didn't have to work to do this. So I tell that story all the time because people think that Jay-Z just found me out of nowhere. And it went from stuff leaking on the net to random people calling my house, calling me by my stage name, because I wasn't used to hearing ninth. You know what I mean? It's been Patrick for 27 years,
Right.
and all of a sudden, somebody called my house saying, "My sweet the Ninth Wonder," and I'm like, "Yeah, who is this? Who is this?" I'm like, "Who is this?" And man, my bad, man. I got your number from Questlove. You know, I love your music, man. I heard it. Somebody played it for me in Germany, and this is the time where this is the time when I'm really starting to understand what www mean. World Wide Web. You don't know where your music is going. I'm like, yeah, you know how you get on the phone with people and you talk and you trying to figure out who it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to ask who it is right off. Trying to get some context clues.
Like keep talking.
Keep talking. So after a while, I just stopped, homie. I said, man, I appreciate it, man, but who is this? Oh, my bad, man. This Music Soul Child. And I'm like,
well, damn.
I'm like, but this is me on the other end.
This is one of my favorite R&B artists. I'm like,
right. This is me on the other hand talking to him in 2002. He doing it. I'm broke, right? But I tell everybody all the time, even with that, I remember every milestone. I celebrated every milestone till I got to Jay. The time that he called.
So
the time that Pete Rock called.
I mean,
the time that.
What did this nigga want, an R&B beat or something?
No, he just heard the music.
And that's just shouting you out.
It just called me. That's the thing about it, man. When you hear something good, you try to get in touch with that person just to say, I heard it. And I did that when I got 10 years in the game. Now my calls is to Mac Miller, Nipsey, Kendrick, Meek Mill. Like, that's me calling saying, yo, I heard your mixtape. It's crazy. Because I know what kind of call, what that means to somebody. Because I know what it meant to me. So my calls was Music Soul Child, Pete Rock, Mr. Walt Evil D from the Beat Miners. That's what my calls. DJ Premier. That was one of my calls coming to me. But again, I'm still broke. I don't think people understand, like, I'm still broke.
Yeah.
And so, me, Fontaine and Pooh, we signed to a West Coast label called ABB Records. It was out of San Francisco. We had a album advance of $2,000.
Come on, man.
Nah, this is a true story. We split it 3 ways. We gave our manager our cut. They left me with about $500. I took that money and got my fiance, our 2-year-old, an apartment in Morrisville, right outside of Raleigh. And that was 2002, 2003. And I didn't even know my music was circulating the net like that. And the person that heard it was Young Guru. And that was it. That was it. He called me.
Wait a minute, Young Guru. We talking about from Gangstar?
No. Young Guru, the engineer.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
When Jay be like, Guru, let's get it. Where we at, Guru? That Guru.
Okay.
And so
Damn.
he ended up calling me like September like 2003. At that time, I was selling beats for like, first I started selling beats for $50. Then I started selling beats for wherever how much money you got. I was when I was staying in an apartment with them 6 niggas, man, I was a dope man in another way. I was a nigga that had the beats. And if you come through, you got $150, but you want 4 beats, I'm trying to take everything you got in your pocket. I'm playing you all the heat. And I had dudes stand in front of me. He's like, man, I got this car payment. Go ahead, dog, take it. So it was that. And then I started selling beats for $300 a piece because I went to NC State with a dude, wide receiver by the name of Quan Robinson. And he asked me how much I charge for beats. I said, man, I'm charging $50 right now. He said, man, them too good. I'll give you $300 a piece for them. So now I'm selling him 5 beats at a time for $1,500. And I'm like, this is the dope game, man. So I'm doing that. So then, right after that, I sold a beat to Master Ace for $2,000. And then the Jay-Z joint came down. Guru called me, told me to come to New York. Went to New York, and that was it, dog.
Oh, it's history.
Yeah, it was it. And I had to make a beat on the spot.
That's when Threats was.
Yeah, I had to make that beat on the spot. And this is in the studio with him, Beyonce, Cedric the Entertainer, Freeway, Just Blaze, Clark Kent.
So Sid was already there.
Sid was there. And when I made the beat, Jay heard it. He said, niggas got 9 lives, 9th wonder, right? Nigga, you don't even understand what that meant. And so he said that, and then when he finished the first verse, he said, I won't say that. He said, I won't say the entertainer to talk on it. So I'm looking around like, what? When he coming to talk on it? He down the hall playing pool. What? So I go down the hall, and he in there playing pool, laughing, and I say, man, and to be a kid from here, to see that, fam, I'm like,
you was on the damn.
I was tripping. But I say that to say this too, man. Like, one thing I've always learned, if either from my parents or, if you had whatever village that raised you from here, act like you've been there before. And that was the thing, like, I ain't gonna ask Jay for no picture. I asked for no autograph.
Right.
It was all type of people coming in the studio, like Steve Stout, like everybody's coming to the studio. I was broke as hell, man. And everybody that I probably seen on TV wearing rock chains and all that, I just zoned out and just made the beat. And my only focus at that time was making that album and my name in the credits.
Yeah.
And the dude it is funny, we talk about it all the time. The dude that came up to me and said, man, how you want your credits to read? And I told him, I said, what's your name, man? He said, Lenny Santiago. And that's now, if you follow him on Instagram, that's Lenny S, the ones that's around with Khaled all the time.
Okay.
But yeah, the thing about Jay is, man, he has been around the same people for the last 25 years. Like, the only person that's not there is Dame Dash. Everybody else, from Lenny Santiago to Tata to Shaka Singleton. I mean, not Shaka Singleton. She from here. Shaka. Everybody. Be Hot. Everybody is still OG Juan. Everybody, man. Everybody is still in that same circle that I saw 20 years ago. Nice man, Emory Jones is out. Okay. He came up with the plain hat.
Right.
And, that's when my journey began. And it went from that to me making that beat, me coming back home, people hearing the name and not believing I'm from here. And that's another thing, too. Niggas think we can't do great shit from here.
Right.
And, he can't be from here. Then it's got to the point now that he from here, but he ain't from Winston, though. Why not? and even for that. So, but then I would say early. That was 2003. I went to the Fade to Black premiere, the movie. It's a trip, and he called me in 2004. The only time I've ever talked. That's another thing too. Niggas think I talk to Jay-Z on the phone all the time. I don't.
Right.
But he called me one time in like March, April of 2004. He said that same CD, that beat CD you played for me, I want you to give it to Destiny's Child. I said, okay. He gave me the address. I sent it. May of 2004, I ended up in LA with B, Kelly, and Michelle. And I did Is She the Reason, Game Over, and probably my biggest single to date, the one that still paid me my money, is Girl. Woo. And so that's the one.
Damn.
That's the one.
That beat crazy too.
That's the one. That's the one that, you know, and that's the one that was my first radio single. I had a video for it, and so that came, and then, but
damn, let me hold $5.
But the thing about it was too, I was understanding the game though. I was working with mainstream artists, but I was working with this dude from LA named Murs. I worked with Buckshot. Buckshot Boot Camp became my family. This rapper named Jean Grae. So I was doing both on both sides. And then I ended up on Memphis Bleak album twice. And then Jay was on tour with R. Kelly. It's crazy.
I know, that was a crazy story.
Okay.
Kells got kicked off the tour. But
we got to pray for our brothers.
Look, man, he got kicked off the tour. But then Mary J got added. Okay. And then when Mary J got added, Mary J was doing an interview on K97.5 in Raleigh, and the DJs at the time brought my name up, and she was like, it's funny. Jay was talking to me last night about I need to get a Ninth Wonder track, and I heard it on the radio, and I just stopped the car, right? But then, like 2 weeks later, they reached out, got with Mary, and I did "Good Woman Down." So that's now I'm a couple of records in the hole.
You got that ball rolling.
The ball is rolling. It's Threat. It's 3 joints with Destiny's Child, 2 by Memphis Bleak, 1 by Mary J. After that was Badu. And
tell me about Badu, man. Oh, you got to tell me about this one right here. That's my baby. That's my. I don't even know she's my baby mama, but
so Badu, man, approached me about doing 3 other beats for something else. But then I sent her 4. She said, "This 4th beat, who using it?" I said, "Nobody." And so it's funny, man. It's crazy. When my boy Jay got married, my boy Jelani got married in Winston-Salem. The night before, we all in his hotel room. And she calls me on my AOL Instant Messenger. So I'm sitting there, and she plays me the first version of the song over the computer. And I said, man. And I was like, what you gonna call the song? She's like, Honey. What? And I said, all right. Yeah. And so, yeah. And I went to Dallas. We wrote the third verse together, and that became another single. Honey became another single.
Okay.
And then me and Ludacris did a joint after that. I met a kid after that. Around that same time, I met a kid through MySpace that was bothering my homeboy every day about getting with me. Like, I don't want to get with him, blah, 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 da. And this kid is named Aubrey. You know him as Drake. And I met Drake in 2007. We did a track for his mixtape called Think Good Thoughts. It's on Comeback Season. And I did the joint with him. Did a full-length album with David Banner. But this is around the time, like I
Got a
said,
real interesting history with David Banner, don't
that's
you?
my man. We did a whole album together, and
Tell him I want one of them jackets too.
oh, I tell him for sure.
Damn.
But we did that, and but in the midst of doing that, I started teaching. I started teaching at North Carolina Central. They approached me to teach, and then I started teaching at Duke.
Okay, now hold on. What? How did you decide just to go into teaching? Was it inspiration by your mother, or was it
that part of it? But that was something that was offered to me. Coming out of Winston-Salem, you coming out a whole lot of people that's going to school to teach. Mm-hmm. I went to school to teach. I was history major.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But my man, one of my partners was teaching in the Chapel Hill area. Graduated from Carver. My man Daryl Piggott.
Daryl Piggott.
Yeah.
Old Pope Chops.
And so,
Pope Chop's son.
Yeah, right. And Piggott came to me and was like, "Man, come speak in one of my classes one day. Show him how to DJ and all that." So I came by, but I did it a couple times, and the chancellor at Central heard about it. And he came to me and he was like, "We heard you went to school here. We know you didn't graduate, but how would you like to start a hip hop initiative here?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to do it." He was like, "Okay, we'll pay you $75,000 a year." And I said,
"What?"
He's like, and the thing about teaching that I tell people all the time, the music industry outside of publishing checks, you don't know when your money's coming. Your publishing checks comes every 4 months,
right?
Every 3 months, quarterly.
You be like, "Damn."
Them teacher checks once a month. And so I started, and then another thing is that they don't have a hip hop is benefits. So now I go get my teeth cleaned for free, and you know what I mean. So I started teaching, and I taught 3 years at Central. Left Central. Duke picked me up. I've been at Duke for 13 years now.
Now, were you doing the same curriculum?
Same thing. Same history,
so
hip hop.
You actually introduced that curriculum to Duke.
Yeah, at the time they didn't have they had a hip hop class. Shout out to my man Jay Bully. He taught the class. I had another rendition of it. Duke has the number 2 African American Studies program in the country.
Damn.
They're number 2. Right.
Why we don't know this?
It's behind Harvard. Harvard's number 1. But I started teaching this dude. Ended up meeting Grant Hill for the first time.
Grant.
He introduced me to Jeff Cable. Cable introduced me to Trajan Langdon. They introduced me to Steve Wojciechowski. I went and spoke at Marquette because Steve Wojciechowski was the head coach there. And then next thing you know, I got back. Speaking at Marquette with Steve Wojo's team, I got back. Cable said, "Come to practice." I went to practice and walked up in practice, and this man came up to me and was like, "I mean, shit, you gonna talk to Wojo's team? You're not gonna come talk to my team?" And that was Coach K.
Oh,
and I said, "I'm sorry, Coach, my bad." And that's when the friendship between Coach K and I started. And,
wow, that's big, man.
But at the time, once again, now I'm meeting the next generation, though. I'm meeting Nipsey. I'm meeting Meek Mill. Meek Mill sold me a mixtape in Philadelphia for $10.
Damn.
When he first started. Cornrow Meek Mill. I met Kendrick for the first time. Big Crit, Big Sean. All of them was like
on their way
up, trying to get in the game. And I met them, but then ended up doing something with, and then I started a record label.
Let me ask you this while it's on my mind. I understand that you're like the gatekeeper of hip hop history.
I guess you could say that. I don't know.
And I say that because if I'm not mistaken, I did a little research, and you're over putting. Well, I heard that Harvard got this vote, and you implement all the artists that comes out, so they have a track record of all of the artists, hip hop artists.
Not necessarily.
Is that true?
Harvard they have the hip hop archive there, ran by black.
Right, the archive. Okay.
They like artifacts like old boom boxes, whatever it is, they have it. There's 2 hip hop archives. There's one at Harvard, the main one. There's another one at another Ivy League school called Cornell in Ithaca, New York. They collect hip hop documents. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if Africa Bambaataa and them had a flyer back in like 1982, the person that was known for doing all those flyers, all those original flyers is at Cornell. Here's the thing though, they're at Cornell in a vault where you got to punch in a code, put your fingerprint on. Right, I'm gonna explain why. Because first, the papers are old.
Okay.
But what's crazy is we as people, we as our people, we have a problem doing this. They know how important that piece of document is. So they got that sitting in a box right beside one of the original copies of the Gettysburg Address, bro. And when I asked them, I said, how y'all got this locked up in a vault beside the Gettysburg Address? One of the...
Right.
They was like, because these flyers is as important as that. And I was like, you absolutely right. And so that's why...
Damn it, I'm conflicted right now. Because...
Why you conflicted?
Why aren't the HBCUs
That's a whole
not doing this
that's
shit?
a whole nother conversation.
And it's our culture.
Well, here's a problem with that. The problem is young members of HBCUs want to do it. What do you do when your HBCU trustee board is ran by a bunch of 70-year-olds or 60-year-olds that think Tupac and Biggie is noise? What do you do with that? Or think that our history, which now we about to...
Well, we got leveraging power now. You can say,
not on...
Well, Duke think it's goddamn
exactly.
important.
And
fucking Harvard think it's important. And we Salem State.
We going on 50 years. Next year is the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. So you about to see a lot of stuff that happens next year. But that's the problem, man. Like we have a problem. I'm gonna say this, man. Listen,
go ahead.
Well, just period. We have a problem. Some people believe I'm already black, so I don't need to know no more about being black. Some people believe that, and I believe teaching black things to black kids. I believe that.
Yeah.
At Duke. There's a hip hop class. There's a class on The Wire. There's a Spike Lee class.
Oh, that's good. Damn.
There's a Motown class. There's a Stevie Wonder class. There's a Michael Jackson, Prince class.
What?
Yeah. And that's the thing about it, man. We have to see Biggie, Pac, Nas, Lauren. We have to see them. That's our Patti LaBelle, Luther Vandross. That's ours.
Yeah.
We got to see them as geniuses for what they are. But we just got a problem, man. We always... Man, my dad used to say this all the time, and I never... My dad 81 years old now. But he always used to say it all the time. It blow my mind when he said it. Man, some people believe the white man ice colder than the black man ice. If you see a black man and a white man selling ice, you think that white man ice is colder. It's better.
He got better ice. it melts slower.
And it's ice. So that's it. It really need, and they have a hip hop class now over there. They went same state, I believe. But it needs to be a school, a curriculum, that. It needs to be more than just a class. It needs to be a history of, because now, it's history of teaching the kid history of hip hop, like I've been doing for so many years. Every student that leave my class, especially the black schools, they say, this is not a history of hip hop. This is a history of me. Like everything I've been saying, all the slang I've been saying, I learned in this class. You got a generation of kids. Because at Duke, I teach a black cinema course of the 90s. So we watch New Jack, Menace, Juice, to a generation of kids who ain't never seen them. So we watching New Jack. And there's a lot of black kids ain't never seen New Jack now. That's fair.
Okay.
So we watching it, and Nino Brown talking about taking over the Carter.
Mm.
And so in my class, if you notice anything you want me to stop the movie, you want to talk about it, we stop it and we talk about it. So he says that, and he's like, you want to take over the Carter? Yeah, we taking over the Carter. When he said that, one of my students was like, wait a minute. I was like, yeah. So Professor Knife, is this where Lil Wayne got his albums? And I was like, yeah. Y'all thought it was just his last name? They were like, yeah. And then when they cut in the back of the Dutter man's head, it's CMB. They was like, YMCMB. They're blown. They can't even.
They connecting it all together. They connecting it.
Right. So it's like that's the part of history that even the episode where Martin dragging around the dog, the stuffed animal. some kids have seen that before they seen Nino walk in. We saw it the other way around.
Yeah.
So you got a generation of kids that know that episode, but when they see Nino walk in with that dog, they were like, man, that's Martin episode.
Right.
So
they get it. They get it now.
So you need those little anecdotes and connections. You're right.
That's the special thing about hip hop, man. It's like we came
so
up with
much
our
stuff
own,
that's hidden, dog.
Right. And we got the music, the dancing,
the culture,
the rapping,
the religion,
itself,
the religion,
and then we actually got a really a tongue,
right?
English. I mean, not English, but
a language, Yeah, absolutely.
A language,
yeah,
that we created out of this
dress,
culture.
a fashion, everything. Man, I got so mad one day. I saw an ad with Kylie Jenner. Somebody had on. It was a Timberland ad, and she had some Timberlands on. Talking about the new hiking boot. I'm like, nigga.
Oh,
one of them. I don't know. It was one. It's not new.
That's
it's like
Super Tims.
But our problem has always been we create it, we elevate it, we get used to it, and we abandon it. Soon as we abandon it, you know who come pick it up? They come pick it up. So that's why I won't never. The hip hop that I love, the geniuses that I feel like are geniuses in this thing, I'll never stop talking about. I refuse somebody to come along and start to teach this thing before I teach it. So I'm heavy about that, man. You know what I mean? I can't have nobody coming along teaching our babies that. You know what I mean? So I've been teaching now for 16 years, and a little bit everywhere. Harvard, UPenn, UVA, Duke is my mainstay. I taught at Wake Forest this past semester.
Okay.
So man, at the same time doing music, started the label in 2010. Signed a girl from Snow Hill by the name of Rhapsody.
Let's get into that.
And
shouts to Rhapsody, man.
So yeah.
So when did you come about with is it Jamla? Jamla era.
I named it Jamla because in 1959, Berry Gordy started a label called Tamla, and which ended up turning to Motown, which he had all those Motown. He started Tamla in 1959, then changed it to Motown. He had Motown, this and that. And Marvin came to him and said, man, I heard through the grapevine and all that, but look, man, I want to do something more social, more, thinking about what's going on. So he's like, all right, you and Stevie can put all that other stuff out on Tamla. And so that's when we got What's Going On, Here, My Dear, Trouble Man, all that came out on Tamla. That's when we got Songs of Key of Life, Tamla. So I named my label Jamla. So I started it, man. I never thought I would start a label. I started one. And, Big Remo, I signed Big Remo, was from here. Rhapsody, this kid they used to play for Carolina named GQ, well, Quentin Isaiah Thomas, but GQ signed him.
The white guy you had?
Tom Hardy. Yeah.
Tom, who's
yeah. So,
cat.
But a few cats that I signed and, ended up she ended up being the only feature on To Pimp a Butterfly with Kendrick. that was huge for us because.
So why did you decide to, out of all the other artists, why did you decide to go with Rhapsody?
It wasn't my choice.
Wasn't your choice?
The first person out the gate was Remo. He the one that had the video. Like, you seen the Whoop Whoop video we shot it
Yeah, I was there.
at Ruba Bell, and you know what I mean? And you know,
so it's interesting you say that is because I was actually there with you, not knowing that I was not knowing that I was.
we
there.
was at Ruba Bell, Whoop Whoop.
Well, see, the thing is, me and Remo used to have a group together. Me and him, we was called the Union.
Right.
We used to rap together.
Right.
And he told me about his whole journey as far as meeting you and, you know, doing this thing. And so it was real interesting to see all of it play out.
Right.
You know, and he was telling me, and I was like, man, quit lying and shit, man. But he was like, God, I'm telling you, I was just in Raleigh, man. We just laid it down, boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. He was telling me how I was going back and forth to Raleigh.
Mm-hmm. He ended up moving down.
And then all of a sudden, he moved out the blue.
Yeah, he moved. Right.
And then I was like, okay. And then y'all dropped Entrapment, which was a classic.
Was Entrapment, right.
I feel y'all did y'all thing on that one.
At the time, the only Jamla record that was distributed in stores. And we was.
Oh, okay. Was that?
It was. We were taking advantage of the blog era. Everything else we was putting out on blogs. This is the blog era now. And we were doing that.
And y'all photo guy was the shit.
Yeah,
what was his name?
Kenneth Price. That did all our videos.
Price,
yeah. And so we would do that, but then, you know, people started taking a liking to this girl from Snow Hill. Because she was so different
she was
from
dope.
what Nikki was doing. And what whoever was doing. She was spitting bars.
She was fresh up.
Yeah, it was bars. All she cared about, and she wanted to rap with. She wanted to rap with the best rappers, so she wanted to rap with Black Thought, and I'm like, what? You want to rap with Black Thought? So she wanted to do that, and you know, that's when she became really good friends with Kendrick Lamar around 2012, and they kept a relationship, and he called her to be on To Pimp a Butterfly. And that was big for us because that was the leverage I needed to say, okay, I got my label, but I can only go but so far. I need help. And the help was Rock Nation. And so now, some 13, Jay-Z. 14 years later, Jay-Z I'm going back to Jay saying,
yeah, can you give me a down?
But it was them basically approaching us to come to us and saying, you know, want to partner up with what you got going on. So then that's when we partnered with them for a distribution deal. So as we put out Layla's Wisdom after that. So now we got a back. Putting out music is great. Putting out music with a bag behind it is something totally different.
Okay.
And now you can reach platforms that you can't. It's hard to reach. You know what I mean? It's not the fact that you're not good enough to be out there, whatever out there is, but it's more of a situation that you need a bag to get you indoors. You need a machine. And so that became our machine. And, you know, Layla's Wisdom was Grammy nominated. And you know, it was just different because, like I said, her subject matter was different from a lot of girls that was out. And that's not to say I learned this by working with rap, and now we're in a situation, we're talking about gender politics, right? And when people say all girls do is every girl talk about sex and this, and that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. My comeback to that is, and I had to learn this over time, y'all don't say nothing when the niggas do it. So I'm like, you know, and I remember like songs like Get Money, we ain't got no problem. Biggie saying bad head in the mo. But when Kim come on, niggas, just to grab a seat, and everybody be like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, so every woman rapper every woman that rhymes is important. They all got a story, and in all stories ain't supposed to be the same. So we did that, and then the second artist we signed to rock was this 21-year-old kid from Charlotte named Ruben Vincent. And it's been up ever since, dog. And
Did you ever decide to double back to get Remo to sign the Nation?
Here's my thing, man.
Or what?
You know, my thing is
Because
this.
y'all did a couple of joints after that.
We did a couple of joints after that, but here's my thing, and this is bigger than Remo. I run my label like a college program. Either you can play in my system or you can't. If you don't like it, you can transfer to another school. But if you transfer to another school, my dude, or my homie, or girl, or whatever, you ain't going over there starting. You know what I mean? And my thing has always been, it's never been a thing. I had two dudes from here, Remo and my man Terrence Petrie, that went to North. But my thing is this, and it's always been a thing of, you know, get somebody from home. When I tell you I tried, because sometimes, and I say this with all sincerity, dog, I can't say this enough. And I've said this to every artist I ever talked to. Homie, in the circles I run in, sometimes you gotta learn to put the nigga up. And it's like, you gotta learn how to turn it on and turn it off when it's time. You know what I mean? And another thing you have to do is, you gotta be patient, man. Like, it is very hard to work with an artist and they listening to their damn homeboys all the time. And think your homeboys know more than me. If you think your homeboys know more than me, then get your homeboys make the beats, get your homeboys do this. Nah, now you need to be doing this for you. Family, if you already know, why am I here? So that's always been the thing for me. It's about having patience, learning how to take direction, being able to walk the straight and narrow. Even if you talk, I ain't never had no problem you talking to Remo talk street. I'm talking street. As a matter of fact, what's crazy about Remo is, and I try to say, look, man, just wait. It's coming. It's coming. Remo was Griselda before Griselda, dog. You think I didn't know that? You think I didn't know that sound was every sound?
You know, I was gonna mention that later on. I was like, you should do something for Benny the Butcher.
I already have. Every sound comes back. It may take it 10 years, 15 years, but it's coming back. So when people say, oh man, don't nobody want to hear the, I remember what Cat said about 6-7 years ago, and don't nobody want all that rapping, hardcore, this is Griselda. Now we at Griselda now. And so sometimes you got to be 2 years ahead of the curve, 6 months ahead of the curve. You got to be there, man, and be the trendsetter instead of following what everybody else is doing. So it's like, now we're looking at Benny and Conway, my man. Benny's my man. And Westside, not everybody. Now, if you got some of them hard boom back, but you ain't want them 3 years ago. Now it's popping again. And so it's like, and I ain't never left that. Never. So you got to be patient, man. Get your homeboys out your ear, because they don't know, fam. They don't know. They sitting at home watching the gram all day thinking they know. They don't know. Follow people on the gram who can benefit you. Don't follow anybody. If you want to be a chef, all you need to follow is chefs.
Right.
That's the way the algorithm works. This ain't about anything else. It's about all the chefs. That's your universe. So that means when I first started my girls basketball team, the Carolina Dream, the one my daughter played on.
Okay.
I started a Nike girls basketball team back in 2018. The first thing I did was I went online and I followed UConn, Baylor. I followed every girls great college basketball girls program in the country, because now I want the algorithm to check out my team. So when you at home and you say you a rapper, but you following all this other stuff and just watching people all day, it's like,
right.
What's the point? Your algorithm ain't gonna look right. You're not gonna pull people who love podcasts, or you're not gonna pull people who love cooking, or you're not gonna pull people who love sneakers. If you whatever you into, that's what you need to follow, and that's it. So those little things is, you try to tell Cass that, They want it now, fam. And when you look at dude in the face, like, all right, if we start today, you have to grind for the next 5. Not 5 months.
5 years.
To get above the fray. Can we put an album out tomorrow on Spotify? Sure. Will it have any ears on it? Yeah, it might have some because my name behind it, but still, that's not enough to get the results you want. You're going to have to grind and project after project and go do an interview with this person and go over here and go to this event with me and shake some hands and go over here and shake some hands over here. And people remember who you are and stuff. And that's how, oh yeah, I met your artist and such and such. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, I want to help.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. But everybody thinks because they see Lil Baby doing it or whoever. Yo, these dudes been grinding for cellmate years.
Longer than that.
Longer than that. That's an undershooting. I'm just giving some of these dudes, man, been mixtape up a mixtape and going here and going there and being this person understudy and following this dude around to this point. And people think that it's overnight. It was 2 years. Yo, this is year 20 for me, dog. And I'm like, yo. And another thing is, too, it's year 20 for me. By design and by accomplishments, I got mine, homie. That means you need to be in studio more than me. If I'm beating you in here every day, nigga, I got plaques on the wall. That means you need to be in here. And that was the thing about rap. Rap worked so hard it would not go home from the studio that I had to put a shower in the studio.
Yeah.
I said, man, you keep staying here. Now I'm going to get up, I'm going to go home, take a shower, and come back. I had to talk to the people where my studio is to have them build a shower in it. Just because. And the same thing I saw in Ruben. And it's like, yo, you can't, what's the saying? Hard work beats talent, with talent don't work hard. That's right. That's the thing. And so it looks like the grind and it looks like whatever, and it ain't going nowhere, man. Like I say, everything we do, if you do, you celebrate. I don't care what it is. Like, this is what it is. And you'll remember the times when you first started or whatever it is. You'll remember them times that you decided to stay in the studio and everybody went home. Mm-hmm. You decided to stay somewhere and everybody went home. Mm-hmm. Every panel I went to talk on, just with me and a bunch of other people just talking. They're like, Knife, you better go do another panel. I'm like, you don't understand how this prepping me for other things. And I would just do them and do them and do them. So now, doing a panel now, to get me on a panel, that's a bag now.
Right.
And to get me to talk, do a lecture at somebody's school, that's a bag now. But it's just me doing it all the time. All the time. Like when everybody just chilling and, oh, Knife, you so hip hop, and Knife, you never turn it off. Yeah. I want to turn this off. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in two things, dog. Never step on toes of anyone, because you never know the leg is attached to.
That's right.
That's big. I like that.
Bruh, you cannot be walking around stepping on toes. Who taught me that? Harry Belafonte.
Belafonte.
To my face. Number 2, chance favors the well prepared, which means if you keep doing something. When it's your chance, you prepare for the moment. And yeah, man, everything. I believe in the universe. I believe in God, of course. But I believe in the universe. I believe in law of attraction, for sure. And everything I've thought about over and over and over and over in my mind in the last 10, 15 years has happened. But I can't just think it. I gotta walk in that direction over and over to where I bought shoes, paid for shoes, get free shoes, more shoes. Now I'm getting shoes on the porch for free, to meeting Kevin Durant, to doing the shoe. You know what I mean?
That's good.
And so that's the thing about it, but it don't come from
That's big.
It just comes from just keeping at it. But the main point about all this is, and I can't stand when niggas do this, I don't claim to be from nowhere else, dog. You ain't never seen me in an interview say nothing about me being from nowhere else but from here.
I love that. I love that.
Like,
I do love that about you, bro.
I can't. But what?
I'm like, why you going? Why would you do that?
But a lot of people do, man. A lot of people are ashamed of where we from, man.
Why is you ashamed from?
I don't know. It's like people come, people leave here and create whole new identities.
I'm gonna tell you like that. I just stay in Philly, man, and just like you said, we have a natural slang to us that don't nobody. We sound like no other
Nobody
people. Else. And I mean, I done got called out like you from West Central North Carolina.
Yeah, like a mug, yeah.
And I'm like 1,000 miles from home. Like, how the hell you know that?
Absolutely. It's
well,
crazy.
just because of how you talk.
It's how you talk.
So, and I embrace that. I embrace being from Winston. I rep it everywhere I go to.
Right.
And I admire that about you, bro.
Everywhere I go, you can't. The niggas right here get you, man, if you don't act like
they get you. You gotta come home, man.
Gotta come home, man.
Well, and they go clown you.
Yeah,
they gonna do all that.
Like Raheem, though, like I don't. When you saw me at the Turkey Bowl, who I was with by myself.
Yeah.
And because that's the kind of that respect I've earned over time. Because it's like, I'm coming home. You always got to be able to come home, dog.
Yeah.
And so no matter it's Turkey Bowl or whatever it is, man, I'm trying to be at home, especially around.
Oh, yeah, and the Turkey Bowl is it's a gathering.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Turkey Bowl.
Of the Elite 8 high schools.
Yes.
And on the morning of Thanksgiving, we all come out,
yes,
our old asses, and still try to play football. You know what I'm saying?
Basketball, too. Shouts to Harry Harris. Rest in peace, Harry Harris.
Yeah, man. Shouts to Harry Harris and his family. Rest in love, man.
But, yeah, got to come home, man. Got to come home.
Wow. That's a bit. Oh, we got a question. We got a question over here.
Okay.
I had just wanted to double back to something that you were talking about.
Okay.
Yvonne Orji had mentioned on Hell of a Week, Charlemagne's show, that people in the black community don't really let their children explore but so much. So I wanted to ask you two things. What's your ratio of black to white students in your class? And why do you think the arts are just so null and void within our community? Why do you think it is looked at so low? Because everybody jam to the to our beats and culture, but white people engage more, like what y'all were talking about.
The importance.
Okay, that's double-sided. I'm gonna say with the arts first.
Okay.
Do white people jam to it more, or do we give it away? A part of the blood's on everybody's hands with that. Like, we'll give it away quick because again, we don't see the genius of what we've created. You know what I mean? We don't, and we need to. If we create some genius, we need to place it in the commercial space and deem it to be ours. We don't. We'll go outside and roll our pant leg up and just be rolling it up. Somebody from Macy's white that's like, we need to make that into a style and put a patent on it and be done. That's one thing. The ratio of, depending on the school and depending on the class, the ratio is sometimes it's half black, half white. At Wake Forest, it was half black, half white. Another race is increasing there too. At Duke, it's majority white. But still, it's a number of black students in there as well. It's in the AFAM Studies Department. But we're at the age that now, no matter if you're black or you white, you need to know about the culture, period. And this is how it went, and this is what it is. The tricky part about my white students is, for the first time in history, we are now facing white students who mother and father listen to Tribe Called Quest.
Wow.
If we dial it back some, 102 Jam started 1989, 1990. It was our first 24-hour hip hop radio station. We ain't had that before. We had 97.
90.5.
Right, and they played hip hop for 2 hours. Daddy on the patio, 1340 WAR, right? Or AAA when they read the obituaries off. That's all we had. But now, here comes 102. And the one thing 102 Jams did for us, especially in my high school, all of the white kids that was listening to like Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and all that in middle school, now we're in high school, they listening to Color Me Bad and DOS Effects. And so now, what do you do when now that white kid now has kids? They are now teaching their daughters and sons about De La Soul. So now I'm coming in a classroom, and if I say A Tribe Called Quest, one of my white students, like one of my white students at Wake said, yeah, my dad played that album all the time. That's what we are now. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the beautiful thing that hip hop has always done, is taken creeds and done that. But as far as arts in the schools, they did this to us before though. Like they took arts programming out of schools in like 1972, 1973 in New York. We ain't started painting on walls for nothing. It's because we ain't had nothing to paint on. And they did it then. But another thing is they started doing it again. They started taking art programming out of schools. And I think that's dangerous. You said something about exploration, right? At first, I thought it was kind of scary when I first started traveling. But you know what I see what a lot of white parents do? They let their kid walk through the airport and they're right behind them. That in turn makes their kid not afraid to explore. That's one thing. Another thing I've seen a lot of times and I've heard it on airplanes. Most white kids, and we're getting better at this because we're a new generation of black parent. But before, most white kids, some white babies or 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, what's that? What's that? What's that? And the whole time the parent will answer every question that kid got. We're from the generation is stop asking all them damn questions.
Be quiet.
We're like, you have too many questions. What you do that? So we're getting better at that, and not accepting everything face value. We're better at the search for truth because we listen to music to make us say, go look for the truth, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Don't believe what the white man telling you. Whatever it is, we come from that. But we have, us as a people, we're afraid to branch out and try new things. But that's a survival tactic, though. When you grew up in the 1950s and 60s in Winston-Salem, reaching out and exploration was not the thing you were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got older, and even for my kids and my homies' kids, it's like, I answer every question they got. You know what I mean? Always explore. Never tell a kid, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, too, the generation before us put their fears on us.
Oh yeah.
And two, but during segregation, all you had to do was go to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But for us, it's a little bit better for us, so we can start thinking more of, being entrepreneurs and stuff like that. So, some of our stuff that we have to fix is definitely generation not passing the torch down like we supposed to. And it's not our fault. And it's not their fault either. We just got to get better every time.
Are you a Chicago Bears fan?
I am.
Me too.
And it's unfortunate.
I know.
We ain't good right now.
I've been one since.
We ain't
since
good right now.
Man.
Yeah, me too. We ain't good right now. You know what I mean? But it's all good.
I need
but
that.
that's
I saw them.
That's it. That's
I ain't mean to switch up. I ain't mean to switch up the subject, but
that's it though.
That was a great answer. I mean, that was a great answer to your
I got one more.
question.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Just one more. So what's your take on the relevancy conversation that Boosie has been having and that 21 Savage had about Nas? What's your take on the relevancy? Because, see, you know the history. You know the roots of it. And I don't think that hip-hop explains that to our youth at this point, you know, the importance of their forefathers.
Okay, sometimes, shouts to Boosie, shouts to 21. Sometimes we judge things by our circumference. What we see is how we comment on it. In the world that Boosie's in, the way he's been, Jay-Z's probably not relevant. I really don't expect him to be, dog. For where you are with, you know, places, okay. Same thing with 21 for Nas. I don't expect for the people that listen to you and the young people that listen to you not listen to Nas. Problem is, for every kid he say that doesn't listen to Nas, I can find 5 that do. But is he in that circumference to really see that, though? Another problem is this, too. No matter if it's 21 or anybody else, music is not set up for you to be liking somebody for 30 years. Now, most kids listen to music, they might like them for 2 or 3. The only person that's really extended time like that is Beyonce, right? If we talk about rappers, most 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20, 21-year-olds you listen to, or we talk to, if you ask them who's been their favorite rapper over the last 10 years, they'll be like, I don't like nobody for that long. Chris Brown. But see, the thing about Chris Brown is, Chris has been around since how long? 15, 16 years. So most kids that say that artist is expanding their lifetime and they picked up Chris Brown later. I'm talking about you start listening to this person at this point, at their inception, and you've been liking them forever. Case in point, yo, Illmatic turns 30 years old in 2 years.
Wow.
The Chronic by Dr. Dre, I just wrote about this. The Chronic turned 30 on Thursday.
Damn, that was that.
We have been listening to nothing but a G thing for 30 years, yo. Wow. The problem is the social media moves so fast that we don't, it's hard to like somebody for that long because here comes somebody new over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and it makes careers this short. So relevancy is like, with social media, it may be shortened, but it depends on who you ask. You said something about Central Homecoming. Mm-hmm. The difference between us and the generation, well, it's 2 generations, so maybe 3 generations now. Class of 1988 parties all the way up with class of 2003. How many years is that? 15? Mm-hmm. So we all got something in common in those 15 years. Ask a kid that's 20 years old, do they got something in common with people 3 years younger than them? Mm-mm. They're like, nah, we don't like none of the same thing. Mm-hmm. Nah, we don't get down with them.
Damn.
Ain't that crazy? But in this, especially in this
like,
city,
I didn't even think about it like that.
I know.
Damn, but yeah.
They'll tell you, they be like, nah, like.
You're right.
Nah. But for us, if you graduated from college in 88, all the way up in 2003, we all listen to Jay-Z. We all listen to Biggie. We all listen to Nas. We all listen to the Hot Boy. Like, it's crazy. So when 21 said his relevancy, I'm like, dawg, who you asking? I get what you're saying, but who are you asking? And you can't judge. If you're only judging hip-hop by Billboard, that ain't fair. You need to look at worldwide, dog. How is Nas not relevant? And he's the voice of Hennessy commercials. Right. And y'all drink. Yeah, it's like Hennessy never stop, never settle. That's Nas' voice in that. So, you know, I don't know, man. It's a bunch of people walking around Illmatic is one of those things that hopefully a rapper this day and time, I hope a rapper drops an album today and people care about it 30 years later. Illmatic is one of those things that's gonna be around.
That gotta be a special.
Forever, yeah, forever. It's like a classic rock album or one of those. But again, songs now are disposable. They don't last so long, and you only care about them for so long. And the main reason why you don't care about them, because you can't hold it in your hand. Yo, okay, all right. I'm gonna ask a young lady right here a question right here. What's her name? Milan. You got a cell phone? You got a phone? When you lose your phone, if you lose your phone, what's the first thing you worried about? Okay. I'm talking about the contents on your phone. What are you worried about losing? The pictures, right? You listen to music on your phone? Notice she didn't say music. You know why? It's on a cloud. Here's the difference between us, Milan. This is the difference. When you lose your phone, you can get your music back. It's on the cloud. Ask all these old people in here what happened. We got our CD book stolen.
Oh my God! Snap! What the world?
I bought mine twice.
Oh my God!
Everybody want to take the case.
Milan, imagine you have spent years and years and years and years building up your CD collection. It is they used to make these books where you hold 500 CDs in it. You done got this CD from Peaches. You done got this one CD when you went to see your grandma.
Well, shout out to Peaches.
You done went there one CD when you spent your summers in Philadelphia. Every CD you bought got a story to it. And somebody break your glass and steal your CDs. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Somebody stole it. Or go back to college. When this album came out, when the album comes out now, it's on your phone, my phone, everybody's phone, just like that. In a flash, Thursday night, bam, everybody got the Beyonce album, right? Yeah. Right. Okay. Here's the problem. The problem is, like he says, $15, $16.
Yeah.
When I went to college, one person on the hall had the album. One. Because they might have got some money to get it that day. They might have got the mall to get it that day. They went and bought Illmatic. That means we got to share Illmatic through the entire hall.
Right.
But here's the thing about that, though.
Somebody make a copy.
Ask everybody in this room how many times they had to buy their favorite album over and over because their friend didn't bring it back.
A lot. A lot.
Man, this dude ain't brought my Ill. Let me hold it. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
So I said all that to say, music has if you made music in the CD, vinyl, tape era, it holds a little bit different relevancy than music that just comes out. Just like bam, 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 bam. That's why everybody continues to this day to talk about the 90s.
Gotcha. Look, let me spice it up a little bit. It came to me, and I don't want to, say that I'm copying somebody for man.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to name a list of producers.
Okay.
And you just pick one.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go. Zaytoven.
Okay.
Or High Tech.
High Tech. Well, and let me preface this by saying this though.
Okay.
Can we get a platform?
Before we get the trip.
Okay. All right.
Before we get the trip for somebody.
I mean, Zaytoven got some bangers.
Wait. Well, somebody's going. This is the social media area. Okay. Somebody's going to see this and they're going to be like, I hate Zaytoven. No, you're asking me. If you're asking me about producer, you're asking me God versus God.
Yeah.
You're asking me Master versus master is one I prefer the most.
Right.
Not to say the other master's not good.
Right,
Okay, I just want to say that.
Right.
All right,
And-
cool. Because
and I'm
Zaytoven's
not-
my man, and he makes slappers.
Right. And I'm only mentioning legendary producers.
Exactly. So it's legend versus legend.
There's no
right or wrong.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
High tech though.
High tech.
Right.
Me too. Juicy J or Jazzy Faye?
What you saying?
Juicy J or Jazzy Faye?
Although one that made a lot of slappers. If my discography knowledge serves me correctly, Juicy J did Stay Fly, bro. And Stay Fly, if the South had its version of Mobb Deep Shook Ones, it is Stay Fly. Stay Fly is everything the South embodies is in that one man. Juicy J, man.
Okay.
Juicy J.
Do you know any of them? Do you know Jazzy Faye or Juicy?
I know both.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the people, if not all, I know.
Oh, this is a good one.
No more than
This is a
others.
good one.
Okay.
Teddy Riley or Babyface?
Babyface, dog. Look, man. Look, listen. Although,
You just win.
although, I probably consumed more Teddy Riley during the Guy years, during all the New Jack Swing. Teddy Riley did I Like for a High Five. He did some joints on Bobby Brown's album. He did probably my favorite Michael Jackson song, Remember the Time. Hey, bro, listen. Hey, all that's great. However, bro, first of all, Babyface he wrote and produced the entire Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. The entire soundtrack.
Right, but yeah.
He wrote and produced that whole soundtrack.
That's crazy.
He produced joints off of that first Tony Braxton album, dog. He produced On Our Own by Bobby Brown on the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack. Babyface, yo. He one of them ones. He has done a lot of joints, man. Babyface has done a lot of joints. It makes and then he's done a lot of joints, and his solo joints has been Sunshine, Where Will You Go?
After 7.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the stuff with his brother. What's the other joint? Soon as I Get Home from Work.
No, don't get it twisted with Teddy.
Nah, man. Nah, that's cool. And again, I probably played more Teddy. In my life than I have Babyface. But this is when the objectivity comes in, bruh. Babyface, hey, bruh. He is it's crazy what this man has written and produced, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Let's keep it moving. All right.
Dre.
Come on.
What?
Dr. Dre.
Oh shit!
Who's you gonna say?
I see you arguing on this.
Who's you gonna say?
Live off.
Who's you gonna say?
P. Diddy.
Dre.
Oh.
Dr. Dre. Cut and dry for 2 reasons. The first reason is Dr. Dre is responsible for Snoop M50. My man. And large part Kendrick. Those are the 4 he has, and NWA. So that's that.
Get Michelle A.
Right. Point number 2. He has these albums under his belt. Straight Outta Compton. The Chronic. Doggy Style. Get Rich or Die Trying. The Chronic 2001. The first Eminem album. Like, I don't know any other rap producer that has that. Yeah, nah, that's cool. All that's cool. All that's cool.
Biggie.
Straight Outta Compton. I'm going to give you 3. Straight Outta Compton, Doggy Style, The Chronic.
You ain't even mention Pop shit.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, then the stuff he done outside of just that, like Family Affair for Mary J. Blige, Blow Your Mind with Gwen Stefani and Eve. It's just too much, dog. Like, Dre is too much.
Too much.
You can't do nothing with him. You can't do nothing with him.
All right.
You can't do nothing with him.
I'm finna hit his ass with this. Pete Rock or Primo? Huh? Did I break your ankles?
No.
Huh?
No.
Ah.
No. If I had to choose if I had to choose the ear of a producer, there's probably been no better ear in producers as far as manipulating samples than Pete Rock. Like, Preem has discography, and he has discography, and hear me out. Preem has discography, and for them, those two are my Yoda.
Okay.
Those two.
Okay, I can get that, and I see that within your music.
Nah, those two.
I see that.
Preem has discography. He's produced for different people. I think he's the only one of us that's produced for Biggie, Jay, and Nas. At the pinnacle points of their lives. He has a joint on Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt, Illmatic, Life After Death.
Ugh. Stank.
3 on Illmatic. 2 on 3 on Reasonable Doubt, 3 on Illmatic, 2 on Life After Death. My nigga.
They ain't even gonna, yeah.
1 on It Was Written. 1 on Ready to Die. Like, this, you know what I mean? So,
who you going with, man?
Pete. Pete is because of his ear. Because Pete can take 5 records and put them together and make a beat. Pete is the one that I'll sit in front of and he'll just play up, hit play, and he'll continuously piss me off the entire day. It's not too many producers that it can play beat after beat after beat. I'm like, bro, okay, I've had enough. Like, Pete.
I think Soul Survival is my favorite one.
Yeah. And arguably, Pete probably has the most important record in hip hop history.
That and Reminisce.
Yeah, they Reminisce Over You was so important at the time. So, Pete.
Since you're a DJ.
I am.
SNS or Warren G?
Warren G. Warren G. I'm a big person on transitions. And so Warren G is, not to say SNS is not, but I like Warren G's transitions better. Him and Battle Cat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a producer.
Well, that's why I wasn't trying to go.
It's Drake versus everybody, though. I don't know.
Say Drake versus everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. SP 1200 or MPC 2?
The SP 1200.
Come on, man.
The SP 1200.
Which one?
The SP 1200.
Okay. I agree.
You only had 12 seconds of sample time. But they just,
I mean, because I was raised on the SP,
Yeah.
so I was just, wanting to know.
So
It's by you being a producer, I just,
SP 1200.
Okay, now I heard you mention Fruity Loops 2.5 or 21.
Fruity Loops 2.5. Yeah, Fruity Loops 2.5, man, for sure.
I just wanted to know because you
Sometimes-
started off on the 2.5.
Yeah, sometimes a lot can be too much, and I like the bare bones of Fruit Loops what it was, and Fruit Loops 2.5. If I had to choose between the two, yeah, I don't care. I don't need all that extra stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Timberland
for real.
or for real?
For real.
Damn.
For real.
He said he can take it out your mouth.
Because I said they were from the same era.
For real.
Area.
For real.
That's what gave it away.
For real.
But I just,
For real.
Different swag, different swag.
Yo, listen.
they from the same era.
Hey, look, man, look. Let's all the stuff we know for real did, like Super Thug and all of that.
But there's some
You know
shit
what I
that
mean?
we don't know that he did though.
Look, Pharrell did 2 joints in the 90s that like early 90s that I still lose my mind over. He did no. He did the Right Here Human Nature remix for SWV.
Right here.
The remix, yeah, with the Michael Jackson. That's him saying
real?
SSWW
to the V.
That's him saying that.
Get the fuck out of here! I
That's
didn't
a
know
negative.
that for real. Oh, that was
Escape was him Jermaine Dupri's group. So
yeah, that's right.
He did that.
Kick off your shoes and
Yeah.
relax your feet. Yeah.
So he did that, and he did on SWV's second album, he did Use Your Heart. Let me tell you this, bruh. At the time, it's listed as Pharrell Williams in the credits. But he didn't change his sound until he did. Everybody talks about Grinding, but the first clips joint I heard was The Funeral,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They shelved it.
and they shelved it. That's when they really started to use them sounds that Pharrell and Chad started to use. But Pharrell, bruh, Pharrell, if I run down his smash list from Give It To Me by Jay-Z all the way up to like the joint he did for Beyonce on the Austin Power soundtrack, that one, he what? You Don't Have to Call by Usher. The what? He got some joints.
Yeah.
Then bringing Snoop back with Beautiful and Let's Get Blown and then When the Last Time by the Clips, all of the just Lord willing. Yo, man, he got a lot. He has a lot of joints.
So
Pharrell, Shake It Fast, Danger.
You can go.
grinding.
know
Hey,
that.
you can go back to Run
Happy now.
Shake.
Yeah,
That's what
Oh, happy, yeah.
Happy went crazy.
Yeah, happy was.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, he did do Mystical.
He did a Rum Shake remix.
Ooh.
Yeah, but
So-
Danger
so check
and Shake It Fast.
So now
That album is hot.
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis started. To me, they started the group producers.
Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something.
So
I'm gonna tell you this.
okay, go ahead, tell me.
Let me tell you this.
Tell me. Dirty talk. Say it. I know that's right. Go ahead.
There's only 2 other labels or discographies or producers that can beat Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Who is that? Might be.
Let me zoom in.
And it's crazy because I don't ever like to talk about a lot of conversations I have with people just to be our conversations. But I'm lucky to say that Jimmy Jam is a friend of mine, a big brother to me. And I asked him about doing the verses. And he said, That's really not my thing. But the only people I can see us battling is Gamble and Huff from Philadelphia, right? It's Kenny, for those in the room that don't know, it's Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, the sound of Philadelphia. That's the OJs, that's Pat of the Bell, that's the Stylistics, that's, yo, bruh. The Gamble and Huff catalog is stupid. Like, they produced the group Mother, Father, Sister, Brother that gave us a Soul Train theme song, bro. You ain't beating that.
That's
like,
just,
you know what
that's
I mean?
like legendary type shit.
You're not
So
beating that family.
it's
So,
like they just took over the torch after that.
yeah, I mean, Turn Out the Lights, Love TKO, Come On and Go
Damn.
With Me, all the Teddy P stuff when he went solo.
Yeah.
Cry
Turn 'em
Together, Family Reunion. Yo, these
What?
are listen. These are black staples, bruh.
Right.
Like, they produce like black hit like. But then, so it's Gamble and Huff and Berry Gordy and the Funk Brothers. It's the only people that can see Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Anything after that, everybody getting washed. Everybody's getting washed.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
The SO, we'll run it down real quick.
Run it down.
The SOS band. No One's Gonna Love You, Weekend Girl, Just Be Good to Me. Human by the Human League. I'm only human. That's them too.
Human. Born
Sherelle,
to make mistakes.
Sherelle Saturday Love.
Saturday Love. Oh my God.
What?
Cheryl Lynn Encore.
Damn.
Oh, all classics.
That was that shit. What?
The
How
entire.
many times? How they
Hey, bruh. These
sampled the
black
shit out of
history.
that?
The entire, from top to bottom, New Edition, Any Heartbreak. The album. If it isn't love, can you stand the rain?
If it is,
Sorry, you're not my kind of girl. Run it.
that
Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis.
What's that? In the
Okay, now let's go all the way there now. Janet Jackson, Control. Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation.
They did that.
They
did that.
Okay. Sounds of Blackness, Optimistic.
Oh wow.
Yo, look, man. It's one thing to be a producer, but when you producing songs, soundtracks for people's lives, dog. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, man.
Got you.
Terry Lewis. I DJ one night online, man. I played Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis for 3 hours.
For 3 hours. Damn.
All the Alexander O'Neal, All True Man,
Yeah.
all that.
Kingpin, all of
That's fair.
Damn it. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
So, what's the future for Knife Wonder, man?
I'm really, 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 man, trying to make my transition somehow, some way into the National Basketball Association.
How and what kind of way?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I wear 3 hats. I wear a music hat, I wear a academic hat, but I also wear a Nike hat. And
Are you sponsored by Nike?
I mean, kind of, sort of. I got the shoe thing a little bit. I won't say I'm sponsored, but just say I don't pay for a whole lot of shoes.
I got you. You on a
Sneakers.
roster.
Yeah, I can call some. If someone come out, I can be like, hey, so look
Now,
here,
if we
14.
need to, you know,
14.
we can do some advertisement. You know what I'm saying? You want to call some?
But
We got a couple of teams around here that need some Nikes.
But that's my thing. I deal with Nike EYBL, and that's Elite Youth Basketball League.
Okay.
I'm a life skills mentor for EYBL. So I've had a chance over the last 4 years to mentor the likes of Paolo Banchero, Cole Anthony, John Kuminga, Jalen Green. Like all the new kids that's in the NBA now. Mm-hmm. Like I know them all, dealt with them all, sat down and talked to them all. And I did that through Nike EYBL. So, trying to find my place in that realm.
So it's like more of a development or management?
I don't know what it is, man. It's not going to be agency because I don't want to do that. But I just think that, just like education, I don't think that people know how to deal with our kids.
Only we do.
Right. And some do, but a lot don't. And because there's a culture gap there. And so that's what I want to do, to get into that more. The NBA. I can teach till I'm 80, of course, but still making beats, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I have to keep that iron sharp because none of this moves if I stop knowing how to make beats, So, just doing that, man, and I like the space that I'm in because I'm in a lane by myself.
Gotcha.
I know producers that produce. I know basketball people that do basketball stuff, and I know I got colleagues in different universities that teach. I don't know nobody in all three. So I can maneuver through these three as much as I want to, and I have been doing it now for about 5-6 years. Teaching for 16, producing for 20, but in basketball, I've been in that now since about 6-7 years now.
Okay.
So me doing the shoe with KD really took it over the top.
So, wait a minute. Now, let's go back to KD. You're doing another shoe with him or the one
I just did the one I just did.
Okay, because I heard that Nike's dropped. No, I'm thinking about
You
Kyrie.
think about Kyrie, bro.
Yeah,
And KD ain't going away.
Sorry, Mike.
But no, doing the shoe with him, dream come true, of course. And
Speaking of that, how you feel about that?
man, you listen.
Do you want to mention anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had to design a shoe is one thing. To design a Nike, that's something else. And for him to play in them, and now I'm seeing kids like wear them around the country, on different floor. Like my homies who got kids that play ball, they send me pictures of them. It's all that some NBA players got some. I gave some to Lavelle's basketball team at Central. I gave some to Duke's basketball team, my man John Shire. I got to get some to Duke women's basketball. But just to see something that I spent 3 hours on the phone on Zoom with Nike about, carefully placing colors here, whatever, to see it on the floor. And it's a trip. And just details about the shoe. My brother's name is in the tongue. Of both shoes, no matter what, because
Okay, stop right there. Let's go into that.
okay,
Just for a second.
okay.
Okay. Why do you have your brother's name in the shoe? And what's the significance about?
Because he passed away 2 years ago, not from COVID, but during COVID. And like I said, he was an exceptional basketball player. And like most dudes that come out of here, man, they may make the wrong turn or whatever, man. Most dudes that come out of here playing sports, their dream is going to the league. Some make it, some don't. And so for him, I know that's something he always talked about all the way to the time he left this earth. And I wanted his name to be on a basketball floor somewhere. So I put his name inside both tongues, right?
That's dope.
So on the bottom of the shoe, one has a map of Suitland, Maryland, where KD is from. KD is from Suitland, Maryland. That's it. KD is from Suitland, Maryland. One has a the bottom of the shoe is translucent, right? Mm-hmm. So they superimposed a map of Suitland, Maryland on one of them. Yeah, he ain't gonna be. It's too short. It's too short.
I was trying to show everybody
so
the shoe, but
so
sorry about that.
One has a map of Suitland, Maryland on one. The one that has KD on the tongue has a map of Suitland, Maryland. The other one, that has Ninth on the tongue, has a map of Winston-Salem.
I got to get them. I got to get a pair of them. I got to get the pair of them.
So
Winston on the map?
yeah, so Winston is on the bottom of one.
Okay, yeah,
And the other one is the bottom. It's Suitland, Maryland's bottom. But that's that. So that's that.
You done already ordered them? Already?
My man. The purple on the shoe is black and purple on the shoe because my Nike Carolina Dream team, the girls are black. The colors are black and purple. The tongue on the shoe is like that, like reflective.
Yeah.
Because I like the Jordan 5, when the Jordan 5 with the reflective tongue.
Yeah.
And then around the tongue, the names on the tongue is stitching. And I did that for my man Virgil Abloh that died, the dude that did the Off-Whites. Because if you notice, it's stitching everywhere. So on his shoes. So yeah, man, that's and right here on the shoe, on the inside, right here and right here, very small, is my kids' birthdays.
Oh wow!
Right here on the shoe. So they let me do it from top to bottom, and it was crazy.
That's dope.
It's crazy. Legs in the shoe.
Yeah, I gotta get the nice one.
Thank you. Yeah.
Gotta get the nice one.
Dream come true, man. KD, that's my boy, man.
I had the joints with the eyeball on the bottom of it.
Yeah, you know what
I'm talking about? Yeah, it had a big ass eyeball. Yeah.
KD's one of the best ever, man, and he chose me. He chose 3 producers. He chose me, Cardo, and our boy Wonder to do a shoe.
He chose me. I'm just fucking around with you, dog. That's my name, you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, he's doing these producer packs, and we were the first of the producer pack that he did, and it's funny, man, to just, like I said, either see him on people's feet or just walk in a Foot Locker House of Hoops and see him in there.
See him in there after you done spent hours.
It's crazy.
How long was that process?
So KD told me that he wanted to do a shoe April of 2021. And he told me, when I tell you this, you got to keep it to yourself for 18 months. Wow. I said, man, because it take that long to do a shoe. Right. And so I got my first pair in July of 2022. I was the only one with a pair. It was a box from Vietnam. This was crazy. It came on my porch, a whole lot of Vietnamese writing on or whatever. And I had my first pair, and I wore them to the Nike EYBL tournament, Peace Jam. I wore them down there. And people was kind of looking like, because the KD shoe was out, but that colorway wasn't out. So everybody was like, what? But there was a few Nike people down there that actually worked on the campaign, and they was like, man, it's crazy that you got a pair. And so then it dropped in September, and we almost sold out. So they almost gone, bro. They almost gone. So yeah, it's dream come true, man.
What's the name of the shoe?
The KD 15. KD 15.
That's the one with the map on it, right?
Mm-hmm. The KD 15. You either type in the Ninth Wonder or the Charles Douthit. So those are the other ones. I got those. I just got those.
Them nasties.
The map on the bottom of those too?
Not those. I didn't do those.
Oh.
That's the joint he did with some graffiti dude in Brooklyn. Oh. But I just got those. They just came to the crib Friday though.
He said those just came to the crib.
Them crazy right there. I don't know who designed those, but they're nuts.
Yeah, them shits is out.
Yeah, I wish that.
Brooklyn Hustler.
Yeah, that's the one. This graffiti dude did. Like if the Frank was still popping, then I would wear them to the Frank like we used to do in high school.
Yeah.
We need to get that back, man.
I'm talking to somebody about that too.
Really?
I know somebody worked up there too, so you probably know somebody bigger, but I know somebody at the fairground.
They need,
Frank was that, right?
Yeah, they need to put it in the Coliseum Annex, but it's more of a situation. Again, the people that run it, the Frank doesn't have an IG page. It's barely got a Twitter page. No TikTok page. You can't survive in this time period without that. So I'm gonna talk to them about revitalizing the Frank Spencer, and I'm also talk to Chris Paul too. And let's see what we can do about bringing it back as a right. But for us, it was a rite of passage. It was a rite of passage for us.
Put it together, and Chris Paul, if you're listening, Hey, brother.
Hey, shouts to my brother Chris Paul for being a
You
graduate
see what we
of
doing
Mississippi
there?
State.
You see what we doing?
University.
We need you on here.
That's
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. On your degree, man. That's what's
Real.
up.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
congratulations to Chris Paul, man. Graduated from Historical Black College, Wichita State University.
You gonna laugh.
Yes, sir.
Eric Sermon or J. Double.
Ooh. Yeah, he went back to it. He had to hit you in the damn pancreas.
I'm gonna have to say this like this. Beat maker wise, Jay Dilla. Of course. It's not even close. Record wise, Eric Sermon.
Sermon.
If I had to pick records like great records,
because that El Nino.
Eric Sermon, man. Eric Sermon.
El Nino, and then when he did Marvin Gaye.
Any Red Man joint.
Any Red Man joint.
Did he do that? Can't Wait.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Can't Wait.
Red Man, that's my favorite joint you did.
Can't Wait. Pick it up.
Yeah, pick it up.
Probably my favorite Red Man song. Whatever, man.
Let's just talk about the EPMD albums. Let's just talk about that.
Go there too.
You Got to Chill.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Shit, I like the joint.
Brother. Yes, sir.
Do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Man, golly. Shout out to my city, man. Pretty much.
Shout out to Detroit.
Shout out to my city. Extra big shout out to the town I grew up in, which is Midway, North Carolina, which is down 52, man.
Mm-hmm.
All my people in Midway. But this is our area. This is our home. You know what I mean? I wish we get an airport back here. We need one.
We're on the smooth. We're just trying to build back.
You know what I'm saying? We're trying a little bit. But
we got a train station. It's coming.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
You know.
But shouts to, you know, I'm gonna shout some places that probably ain't standing no more. Shouts to the Marita bread boxes.
I know that's right. We used to smell that motherfucker from the highway coming in the winter.
Some of this
You
stuff
knew you
y'all
was
might not
home.
remember. Okay.
Knew you was home.
Right beside the Marita bread box. Shouts to the Holly Farms. They used to sit right there.
I know that's right. Don't forget flowers on their ass.
Shouts to the Zesto on Liberty Street.
Ooh.
Shouts to the good people that gave me my Easter Sunday suit every year, Miller's Variety.
Miller's.
Look here, yes sir.
That was the only place you get a Kango,
yes,
a real
sir.
Kango.
Shouts to the 99-cent movie that ain't there no more.
I know.
At Parkview. Shouts to the movies that used to be in Marketplace. Shouts to the movies that used to be in Haynes Mall in the back.
Shout out to Shout out to Peaches.
Shout outs to Peaches Records and Tapes. Shout out to the Toys R Us. They ain't there no more. Shout out Northside Skate Ring. Shout outs to the Central Park that you sit up on Acclaim.
Oh my God! What would you know about Central Park?
I told you I'm from the crib. Let me see. Shout outs to Bessie's. You sell the best
Bessie's. The best taters in the world, baby.
Shout outs to the old Pizza Express that used to be at Northside.
Oh my God!
Woo!
Shout out to Chicken.
Over there off of Field Street.
Oh my God.
Shout outs to the Burger King that used to sit on Martin Luther King. We used to have Crenshaw on Sunday.
Crenshaw. We did used to have that motherfucker looking like Crenshaw, huh?
Be lit though.
Shout out to Joe's. Shout out to the two Joe's Fine Food.
Joe's
Yes.
Food. Yes.
Damn!
Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember Joe's. That was right there by Conrad.
Yeah, down right by Conrad's Hair Supply.
Yep.
Shout out to Conrad.
Conrad's still standing.
Hey, and it still look like 72 in that motherfucker.
Shout out to every business that's still in Jetway Shopping Center, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to
the Paragon.
Shout out to Shouts to Winston Lake. Why? Because at one point that's only place black people could go. major black church around here, man, from Macedonia to everywhere, to Gola, to Mount Zion, to Mount Calvary, to Shiloh, to
St. Peter.
St. Peter, yeah, everybody, Gola, Metropolitan.
Everybody came from one church.
Shout out, man, young man. Shout out to Bell Brothers. Shout out to shout out to Mama Chris, used to be on Liberty Street. The Zoo, of course.
The Zoo.
Yeah, the Zoo, man.
Shout out to King.
Shout out to Black Velvet.
Shout out to Black Velvet Lounge. Shout out to Black Velvet Lounge. Shout out to Brindle's always had the best toys.
Yeah.
Best always had the best toys. Skate. Shout out to Skate Odyssey. They used to be up on Peters Creek.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God, they used to be hitting them.
Last but not least, yo. Shout outs to Quincy's that used to be on Peters Creek with the big fat.
Oh,
Wow.
What was you doing?
Grateful all day.
Oh my God.
This used to be the shit.
Look here, man.
East Road.
East Road was serious.
Yes, sir.
And then I ain't standing no more. Shout out to every KNW we had. We had like 10 of them at one point in life.
Yeah.
We only got one now.
We got two.
Just barely hanging on, dog.
They barely hanging
One of
on.
Coliseum was the one I used to get up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like the one on Healy too.
Nah,
Yeah.
bro. At the church.
Well, the main one there is down on Brow.
It's
on the
on
north.
Healy.
Yep.
Yeah.
University.
Healy. That's Healy and Hayes Mill.
Hayes Mill.
Yeah.
Hayes
That's the
Mill.
one. So yeah, man. Shout outs to it's my city, man.
That's
For real.
what's up.
That's fine.
Wow.
It's my city.
Wow.
We talked about Quincy.
Wow.
Alright, y'all, man. Hey, look here, man. I want y'all to take y'all stinking asses to YouTube, download and subscribe. Don't stare, but share. Don't hide it, but the back. The love that is. And if you want to, go ahead and write something down in the comment area. Let us know how you feel about it.